Longtime fans of the NA ALGS will be stoked to welcome back Bryn. Popular among pros, this hot prospect back in 2022 vanished from the scene.
はい、どうも皆さんおはようございます。おはようございます。本日はっていうか、NA の方もね、ALGS が始まったので、NA のね、ALGS を見ていきたいなと思います。さあ NA で NA 出場するチームも見ていきましょうかね。NA 出場チームは TSM、LG、オキシジン、デューナイト、SKRTA、フラット、ネイティブゲーミング、GKS、オブリビジョン、ドロップインゲーム。グループ B がオプティック、PLP、ダークゼロ、コンプレクシー、サードグループキャッチャット、セレクト、シークレットフォーマル、アペガングかな、エレブエイト、テンパー、イーザン e スポーツかな、って感じで、ダークゼロと TSM ってね、世界を取った男たちがね、このグループいるので、今日は絶対見ないといけないなってことで、見ていきたいと思います。TSM そしてダークゼロがいるグループのミラーをしていきたいなって感じですね。おはようございます。おはよう。おはようございます。朝早くですけど、NA はね、朝早いので。さあ、イヤー4の LGS、NA が始まりそうですね。何時からスタートなんですかね。8時10分ぐらいかな。10分遅延だと思うんで。That will not be able to be competed against. Will the likes of TSM raise their trophy again, which is where we left them just a few months ago? Or will we see all the roster changes, all the swaps come to fruition for a new team to make themselves a chance at having glory? And of course, the biggest name in the ALGS. All of that to unfold, and it starts off here with day one, and that's why we're going to get underway here. Everyone joining us, welcome. Let's get it started. All right, of course, I've got to bring in my duo who's going to be working with me all day long. We had Amia earlier, and now it's a chance to go back to it in North America. Of course, Mark, Onset Hatcher, bringing the play-by-play. Mark, it's North America. This is where the champions reside. We're going to have a whole year to see if that stays the same.
Yeah, it's a team with a target on their back for sure. TSM, of course, are champions, but if you have been living under a rock for the last few months, ever since champs where we saw them lift that trophy, so much has gone down with the competition. So many teams.
コロナになったので自宅療養のついでに ALGS 見ます。いいですね。ついでに見ましょう。NA のね、大会なので、ちょっとね、わからないこともあるかもしれませんが、皆さんで見ていきましょう。
color commentator. He's won the esports award for color commentary last November. So congratulations right off that. And Dan, again, a fresh start not only to the ALGS but to a year for all of us.
こっちの方のノースアメリカバージョンも見ていきましょうかね。これで見た方がいいか。フェーズもいますね。フェイズ、TSM、オプティック、
ダークゼロ、コンプレクシティ、オキシジン。
joining us and maybe not familiar with how the ALGS runs, or if you've had a couple of moments in the off season where now you're trying to get back into the flow, we've got a perfect video to set up how the course of this season will take place and transpire, and ultimately how you'll get to the prize play in the Split 1 playoffs.
The Pro League is comprised of 2 regular season splits. The Split 1 regular season features 4 regions made up of 30 teams, seeded into 3 groups of 10 teams.
やっぱね、世界王者 TSM とダークゼロが出るってなるとね、気になりますよね。NA はどういう感じなのかと。A 対 B でやっぱダークゼロと TSM がぶつかるのが一番熱いね。
40 teams, including teams from all 6 ALGS regions, will have qualified for the Split 1 playoffs.
Of course, if you need any more information than that, sometimes it takes a rewatch. Check out the QR code on your screen. Grab your phone,
何これ?
whether it has this cute little Nessie icon behind that's, you know, homemade as well. Again, shout out to Dia and his partner for making this for us in the green room. Go up, use that, and then it'll take you right to the landing page. Give you all the information on when our ALGS broadcasts take place, so you never need to miss a beat.
これを QR コードをやると、あれって言ってますね。QR コードをスキャンすると、ALGS イヤー4の情報が見れますよだって。QR コード導入ですか。
beneath first for a while, so there really had to be some major changes. But just as an idea, I know we've got a graphic indicating just a little bit of what has transpired. Mark, we'll get into that in just a moment, but before
ボーナスポイント。One bonus point will be awarded if the team that finished in first place has a margin of victory of 50 points or general over the second place. これはあれですね。これはあれかな。マッチポイントのマッチポイントのやつかな。イヤー3で4試合で終わったからって感じかな。おはようです。おはようございます。おはよう。NA はほぼコンジット採用。そうですね。NA は結構コンジット多い。コンジット版が。そしてロースターがいろいろと変わったと。ダークゼロもね、タイクスが入ってますから。そしてコイフルに X セット。X セットにコイフル。フェイズにはゼラトリッキー、パンダーズ、スナイプダウン。そしてね、モイストが、参戦と。モイストは、エパックサウスのね、強豪チーム。モイスト。そしてスイート、エナルジースイートとかは LG に行きましたね。エナルジーはもう解散と。
I mean, I just want to shout out too that one of the talent in R6, Jess Goat, I think she's been nominated as well. She mentioned something like that on my broadcast. I would be so grateful. So Tanya, again, big shout out to you and big shout out to our production team for allowing that visual to make something that's very confusing a lot easier to read in the off season. It is a little bit hazy, and however, I think it leads us back to conversations that sometimes are not. We come into North America with a clear focus on maybe who the top teams are, teams that are absolutely familiar.
さあ注目チームですかね。チームの顔的な存在の人たちですかね。ドロップで、ティミー、ハル。確かにティミーもそういえば出てたね。あと今回あれじゃない？ そういえば
and notoriously them and NRG could have actually ended the tournament before TSM had that amazing back-to-back-to-back wins to seal the deal, but dropped Skittle Cakes and not finally finding the rhythm
何言おうとしたか忘れちゃった。
leaving SSG and finding a real great home in Optic Gaming, but disguised, or should I say 100 Thieves for its Timmy, maybe both.
2位に50ポイント以上差をつけて勝ったら週のポイントにボーナスもらえますよってやつですね。2位に50ポイント差、あ、そんなことが入ったんだ。でも2位に50ポイント差ってなくね。ほぼ起こらないから、まあ、起こったらって感じか。50ポイントはなかなか起こりづらいな。確かに50ポイント差つけたら圧倒的だから、それぐらいボーナスつけてもいいって感じか。
You called the right guy. All I do is watch Apex. Alberelli, 5-time champion, former TSM member, phenomenal player.
That's pretty good.
Would say.
Does he get much viewers on Twitch?
I'm not. I could check. I mean, I don't know if that. Okay. Clout's everything. Let me get another one. Former FaZe member, phony. Clout FaZe goes hand in hand. Top 5 at LAN.
Pretty good. How many Twitter followers does he have?
5回オフライン行ってると。
Kind of weird. I'm not really
Again, nice way. Clout is everything
Okay.
esports. You don't actually have to be good at the game. You just have to be famous, like Sentinel.
Yeah, you know, I'm starting to see
なんだ?
this here. Zainu, LAN champion as well. He doesn't get much better than this.
Does he post on TikTok? Like TikTok's the new big thing.
Do you want him posting thirst trap?
Yeah.
I have no idea what he's doing. Clout.
What about that Timmy guy? What's he up to?
He's pretty good, but
And he has a lot of Twitter followers.
tons of Twitter, but he's on 100 Vs. I don't see how that's gonna work out.
Alright. No, why don't we just ask him? Timmy, you want to join DSG?
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
なんか始まった。NA のやつ。昨日はキーマウ3上位3位構成は面白かったですね。まあ昨日どちらかっていうとね、あれだね、APACノースは中入りムーブがすごい活発ってか、中入りムーブがめちゃくちゃ良かったし、昨日のね、週だったから、まあそれはね、中入りムーブチームとしては、もともと席巻したのはやっぱ韓国勢と日本のトップ勢だけだったから、まあ、結局キーマーがちょっと良くなったっていうのはそれはあったかもね。端ムーブがやっぱパッド勢が多いっていう感じのはあったから、やっぱどちらかというと伸びやすいのは経験豊富なキーマウ勢だったって感じなのかな。
Take a look at what we did with Timmy earlier before the season started. Hear a little bit about him and his thoughts on Disguised.
Hey guys, it's Timmy here. My teammates are Design, Enemy, and our coach is Bronzine. We are on the team Disguise, also known as DSG. It's honestly a great feeling, you know, me, Design, and Enemy, and Bronzy get a org to represent. They're gonna do their absolute jobs to really put us out there, and we get to just focus on winning. So I think me and the boys are gonna go crazy this year, and I'm really excited. It's really cool, you know, like I never thought I could be on 2 orgs at once, but you know, 100 Thieves was really kind to let me compete on DSG.
6マッチ中3マッチ以上のチャンピオンでボーナス入る。へえ。だって今回の大会からイヤー4からは6マッチ中3マッチのチャンピオンもしくは2位と50ポイント以上の差をつけるとボーナスポイントでもらえるらしいので、まあ1位を取りまくるっていうことも大事らしい。APACサウスデーがやっぱ軒並み強いチームは NA 行ってるな。PLP はフレックス、フォニー、ザイニュー、3パッド。3パッド強え。フレックス、フォニー、ザイニュー。クソ火力やばそう。PLP。 クソ強そうやん。ダークゼロはサイクスがインと。すごいな。てかさ、みんなさ、目の色すごいかっけえ。目の色マジかっけえな。何色って言うんだろう。水色。ザイニーダークゼロをやめちゃった。あんまりザイニーのいいところ生かせなかったからな。あんまりね、良くなかったんでしょう。まあでも、どちらとしてもいい形でなればいいですね。ヒズワと卓球してくれ。どういうこと？卓球がうまいの？フェイズもやばいんだよな。フェイズはパンダーズとゼラトリッキーでしょ。パンダーズ、ゼラトリッキー、そして誰だっけ、スナイプか。グループ A の方がこのような感じですね。競合は TSM、LG とか、ここや僕ね、AvsB、誰でしょう。春、スイート、デオキシジン。ここら辺はちょっと中の人たちは分かってないけど俺。で、フェイズ、オプティック、デクゼロ。こっちやばいな。フェイズ、オプティック、コンプレクシー、デクゼロ、PLP。AB やばそうやな。C はディスガイズとフューリア、センチネル、モイスト、X セットはどこもやばいか。NA やっぱエグいな。これで見れるじゃん。ドロップ、ドゥープレックス。ここドゥープレックスなんだ。これはわかんないな。フラットもわからんな。これはあれだな。カオティックなんかカオティックなんちゃら。ホライゾンのめっちゃ強いやつ。ランボーいるじゃん、ここに。ランボー、マンバ。アルブラレリー、スカート、これ。SKRT、アルブラレリー。で、ザック・メイザー、エレブレイト。フェイズ。なるほど。
Despite it being element 6 winning, but so many teams within that top 2 to 6 so close could have taken it. North America, I expect a similar thing, but sometimes we do see a few teams.
今オキシジンの評価 NA だとそんな高くないっぽいですね。それでも NA なんでクソ強いですけど、前がすごい良かったんかな。アリルさんの NA 優勝予想どこですか？ NA はまだ全然見てないから分かんないな。さすがに APAC ノース追いすぎて、今シーズン APAC ノース追いすぎてマジ NA マジノータッチだからな。だからちょっと見ようかなって。世界大会もあると思うしね。結局それまでに少しでも情報集めましょう。まあ単純に気になる。今日はストッポ、バルデッチ。
changes since the last time we saw Storm Point in ALGS at Champs. We've got some new POIs. We've even got new tridents on the map.
アルブラキのパルモンやってたアルブラリーいつもあんな感じだよ。アルブラいつもなんか変なゲームやってるからな。日韓勢と NA の違いってありますか？NA 勢アクティブかな。自分たちが取りたいポジションに対してファイト仕掛けて取り切るみたいな、そういうイメージが強い。3人でバッていくっていうわけはでも NA のよりかは日本の、韓国勢の方が強い。韓国勢なのなんか3人でバッていくスイングめちゃくちゃうまいよね。APAC のさ、韓国勢に限った話かもしれないけど、あと火力がやばい。 NA はもう一人一人の火力がもうやばすぎる。強気ってイメージかな、どちらかというと。なんだろう、無理な強気じゃなくてちゃんと強気って感じ。初動ファイト、エコ HQ とエコ HQ で初動ファイト。ドロップインゲーミングと相手ドゥープレックスっぽかったね。いや昨日のサクさんに対してのね CR のスイングやばかったからね。ああいったのマジでやばいわ。あんなんも対応ほぼ不可能だからな。もう来るかもって予想しとかないといけないっていう。来るかもって予想しないといけないから、そしたらまた悲観できなくなっちゃうし、それもそれでまた難しいからエリア取られちゃうし。サクさんが悪いわけじゃなくて、昨日はねマジで CR がうまかったわ普通に。ああいったスイング行為がマジで強いよね。韓国勢のいいところは。うわハボックの悪いところやった。ハボック
So maybe this fight just comes to an end, and I'm looking at teams that are nearby. You've got flat over towards Pylon who could have a look at this.
6上では EEC とどこだろうな、どっかが戦ってるね。移動中かな。おお、そして来た。奥の方になってますね。TSM は平井心、ランドマーク変えましたね。平井心に。
One team who's going to be very happy with that zone pull is going to be LG dropping over at Zeus Station, one of the new POIs. They're going to have great priority to where that zone is going, probably around the eggs or maybe on the
CR スクリームでは調子がって言われてたけど、蓋開けてみたら本番と強かった。まあでも俺目線から言われるとまだ本調子じゃなさそうな感じはしたけどな。なんかちょっと運良かった正直。ストポ以外の順位あんま伸びてなかったから、ストッポのてかストッポ右下3回連続はねグロい正直。逆にあそこで右下のチーム勝てないわけないからな。3回連続右下はねグロすぎる、さすがにと俺は思いましたね。北のチームとか軒並み死んでたもんな昨日は。マジ伸びてなかったし。
Not the best of loot pools as well, but the fact that you can test a POI that doesn't have great loot even if you win it, even though you might have a little bit of crafting, kind of it's an interesting one to take, but you can understand maybe they just feel that's their best chance to get into the game by winning that. Dark Zero though,
ダークゼロはアンチに入ってくるが、アンチ入ってくるけども、これは多分予想だね。第1エンドの予想で早めに入ってきたけど入ってない今回は。 まあ基本的に NA の構成はバンガロールとコンジット、そしてカタリストって感じですね。基本構成は。
is Dark Zero aside from TSM, so it was strange them not competing in that final, but that doesn't mean they can't come back with a vengeance here. And Sykes being added to this squad, another roller player who has some incredible
本番想定のチームはスクリームだと弱い。まあなんだろうね、本番想定だとやっぱみんな控えめになっちゃうから、ファイトの時もみんなやっぱ怖いってなってファイト中に入りきれないって場面も多いから、スクリームだったらさ、練習だから行こうっていうなんか強気なプレーできちゃうけど、本番ってやっぱそれが難しくなっちゃうから、やっぱ違うよねってなるかもね。だからファイトしてるチームとかはスクリーム強くて本番こけたりするよね。そこら辺はひよってちょっともうしょうがないっちゃしょうがないもんな、ひよっちゃうの。プラスあとやっぱ周りの動きがガチガチになっちゃうから、その分やっぱ待たれちゃうと終わっちゃうってなるよね。あー、クラフト見られていく。キノトロープがいい例だったってこと？でもキノトロープは普通に強そうだったけどな。あまり左右されなさそうな感じしたけど、まあでも普通にね、単純にまあでもなんかファイトがちょっと遅かったかなと思っちゃったな、俺のイメージは。いつもファイト早めに仕掛けて自分たちが嫌なとこ取り切るって感じだったけど、昨日はもうディングと共に仕掛けてたから、ディングと共に仕掛けちゃうともうあとは待ってるチームが一番強いから待たれて終了みたいなで俺イメージだったな、俺は昨日は。昨日のチームね、大体そうだった。みんな仕掛けられないんだよね。みんな中で取っちゃって守ってるから、戦っちゃうと漁夫来るかもっていう意識がすごい芽生えちゃって、それに対して動きが硬くなって結局戦えず、第3リングでアンチとともに行ってディングも来るし敵の前で待ってるし、うわーっていう状態が多かったかなって思っちゃったな。
It's just funny, isn't it? You know, TSM stay together, win champs. Sweet on the other side at the start of the season. Obviously, we had a lot of fun with both Hal and Sweet. It's just almost amusing that they're facing off against each other, right? New roster versus the old TSM, and they're looking at each other right now. And the TSM will be gatekept as well by LG.
まあ力はあるチームだからね、キノトロップも。まあこれからあるんじゃないですか。まあ第1週ですからね。まあ、結局平均的に8位取れば、じゃあ5位ぐらい取っとけばいいから、まあ、こっから1位1位とかでも1位2位とかでもいいし、まあ1周こけても別にねまだありますからね。1周こけたら終わりっていうことじゃないから、まだ大丈夫でしょう。ストポア TSM は平井心反省でも判断含めてファイトのタイミングワンテンポ遅かった。マジでそれはそう、本当に遅かった。外入りムーブのチームはねマジで遅かった。第3リングの縮小タイミングぐらいで攻めてたから、それでリング飲まれちゃって、まあ、こけてるってイメージがすごい強かった。昨日のスト入りムーブはね、モーゼはちょっと違ったかなって。モーゼは普通にモーゼは単純にそのなんだろう、モーゼっていつもファイトチームが仕掛けた後にそこを漁夫に行くチームだから、モーゼもそれでこけた。周りのチームが全然仕掛けないから、それで外入りチームの動き方が普段と違ってずれちゃって、こけちゃったんかなって。キノトロープ、フェンネルだとか SBI だとか、まあ、SBI はあんま関係ないか。 SBI はなんか基本的にバッていっちゃうからな。 SBI はあんま関係ないかもしれないけど、 TSM は飛んでいく。どこまで行くんだろうこれ。バナー裏まで行く。バナー裏フェロバリケードで一旦チル。さあこの後どうするかだね、入ってないから。さあこのアルティメット使った後 TSM どうするか。入ってない。車線は通る。さあ TSM ちょっと苦しいこの状況。もう行くしかないですね。さあここは無理やりにも入っていくか。さあ下から入りそうだね TSM。さあ無理やり入る。いやいい入りだね。ちゃんと3人で行動してるからしっかりと入れる。偉い。しかも第3リング見てるから最初に2点目の分かってますね。やっぱ細かいとこうまいな TSM。第3リング読んでしっかりと第3リングのタイミング、第2リング縮小のタイミングで入ってきて、でちゃんとアルティメット使ったりだとか、一回そのまま入るんじゃなくてすぐ入るんじゃなくて一旦上から入るように見せかけて、でその後下から入るっていうね。今下から一瞬一気に入っちゃうと下全部見られちゃって危なかったんだけど、一回上からアクションかけたことによって上から来るかもしれないから上見ようってなった後に下から入るっていうね。マジで細かいとこがうまいね TSM。ディジェクトはなんであんなキルできるか。ディジェクト単純にお腹入りできるランドマーク持ちつつ中入りしてて、でファイト力バカ強。そして魚振りに行くタイミングをもう経験で覚えてるから、まあそれ当たり前に強い。当たり前に強い。もう世界大会全部出てるからね。それ当たり前に強いですよ。もう経験値ランドマーク全てが強い。負けない理由がないよね。
Without a scan meta, Dan, you're never quite sure if there's someone behind you, if there's someone above you, and you have to be so careful on checking everything as you move into a position.
I just love that you can just throw your Q up and find out, dude.
リジェクトがストッポでアンチガイスキャンされたの。確かにアンチガイスキャンされて、うわーチーバーイって言ってた。マジ笑ったわ。アンチガイで第3リングだったからゆっくり行けば大丈夫だったんだけどね。あれブラッドハウンドがいるっていうなかなかないレアなケースだったからね。
So TSM have successfully found a home, but FaZe also quite rightfully moved away because they recognized there was some aggression below them and they weren't really equipped to take a straight fight.
PLP フォニーとザイニュの PLP ってザイニュだったっけ。ザイニュだね。ファイト激強そうチーム。マジで最強そうここ。おお。ネイティブゲーミングが全滅。いやー強そうこのチーム。メンバークソ強いんだけど。NA 3パット。おほぼ3パットじゃね。マジでパットばっかだな。おオキシジンが落とした。おエーパックノースター3キーマウが3チーム勝った時の NA はどうだ。3キーマウいんのか。もういなくねえか。絶滅したじゃね。
That LG gatekeeping situation that they put themselves in so long ago, holding out anyone that would be arriving from the likes of Lightning and Zeus. And Oxygen is
いや、オキシジンきついこれはもうアンチガイ。LG スイートが上を抑えて スイートやらかすねよ。そんなしょうもないことはしてるねよスイート。お前危ない。激浪やんけ。あ、ピューピュー落ちた。 GKS カオティック。あ、うまっ。さらにアルブラリリ来た。アルブラリーいや、うまい戦い方。ハンド使ってる。でも展開してお強っ。スキューリーえぐいえぐいえぐい。スキューリーえぐい。あーえぐー。スキューリーえぐすぎ。
just on time, and now they will have the entirety of this southern side, but they have to move up through this cave, and again it's going to be LG who are going to be waiting there potentially.
レーサー的カタリスト環境はカタリスト環境はマジでカタリスト続くんじゃないかな結局。バン肩が結局強いからな。まだまだ続くでしょう。ホライゾンがまあちょっと少なくなってくるかなって感じはするけど、 DSM も上上がって、TSM 普通に勝ちそう。なんか TSM 普通に勝つ。 TSM か LG かなこれ。いやでも LG が今のところ濃厚か。もう TSM めちゃくちゃポイント伸びそうやなこれ。下取り行くか TSM。ダークゼロもめっちゃ上がってる。ダークゼロ下取ってる。やっぱ強いチームってちゃんと上がってくるんだな本当に。なんか NA チームって期待裏切らないな。So they're not in the best spot, but they have spotted out another squad. As now it's just going to be Monsoon on his own and trying to take on the world, which we've seen him do some crazy things before.
We certainly have. Should be able to reset here. Nobody else is really thinking about pushing this because TSM and Dark Zero are so close to each other. And Verhos, he gets a horrible surprise. Oh, TSM, Dark Zero. いやでも MN キーレップス。さあキーマ対決取ったー TSM。 しゃーでもいやナイスギャグだけど TSM ダークゼロのファイト熱っ。これでも LG 勝つんじゃねえか。 LG 歩くねえか。 LG ともうワンチームなんかいるかもな最初から取ってるチームが。ここやね。どこだろう。アキンブー LG はまだ上か。微妙。スイート開きます。貼り付けるからな。まだあるね LG も。さあ NRG が解散して LG になって、こっから巻き返しになるかやね。あ、偉い。内側のチームがちゃんと狙いに来てる。さあ LG、 あーこれカタリストの壁早めに入ったらな。これちょっとやばい LG。 ちょっともったいないな LG。 片壁早めだったね。もう上から来るかもしれないっていうのを考慮して片壁焚いて、まあ多分打ちたかったんだろうけど、ここのビーコンチームがかなり有利だったからな。オブリビオン。第1ゲームはオブリビオン。俺はこの人は知らないな。ブリンク ZR アークオーレル G みたいな。第1ゲームが Yeah, very, very strong position, of course, they had for the majority of that game. It's a very difficult zone to try and access and think.
あーでもあんまり伸びてないな、各チーム。どちらかというとキルポイントがやっぱ中盤チームに入ってトップも伸びてないね。トップ今のオブリビオンも4キルの1位だからポイント伸びてないね。
Yeah, I think there was a few teams who thought maybe they could have got a little bit further, but then suddenly a fight started occurring. We had a few teams inting perhaps because they
予選組？あ、予選組なんだ。
because everyone fighting uphill, right? You don't want to be in that final circle walking uphill and just
これ予選組らしいです。それは知らなくても当然か。SKRT がアルブラレディ3位の5キル、コンプレキシーが1キルの2位。TSM はさすがに安定感。6キルのちゃんとこれが一番いいよな。ここら辺理想形。ここら辺取れるチームってやっぱいいよね。5キルの5位の何キルかみたいな。これ取れるのが一番いいよな。ここら辺取れるチームってほんと強い。まあまあ第一試合ですからね。1位3位は新旧ディドルですね。ボドカが最強すぎた。ボドカ最強論。There's always another team. There's always a potential for another team to be ratting away, and it was complexity as a two, just surviving long enough, and a second place finish for a team at one point were down to 1 in that final 5. I think they'll be very happy about it. NA でバンガー必須キャラなんですね。まあ、バンガーもうほぼってかもう全部必須だよ。バンガー最強だもん。バンガー外すメリットない。デメリットしかなくね。バンガロール抜いたら。バンガ抜いたらマジデメリットしかない。ダークゼロのランドマークは見る。NA の LG だったらずっとここで見ていたいけど、基本的にミラーしてくれるかな。まあ、起きれたらかな。言うても俺も NA じゃあ、でも起きれそうかな。NA は EU はちょっと厳い。EU の時間マジで遅すぎる。EU マジ3時とかでしょ。 NA はまあ気合で起きようと思うの起きれるね。8時だから。全然起きれるな。NA は。まあ、NA はミラーしていこうかな。EU はちょっと後から見返す感じになっちゃうかもな。強いチームが強いランドマーク取ってるからジャイキリ起きにくい。まあそりゃそうだね。ジャイアントキリングが起こりづらいだろうね。基本的にやっぱ強いチームが強いランドマーク取っちゃうから。まあ本当にそれはもうしょうがないよね。
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ALGS. Game 2 upon us in just a moment. Rain Day, Gasket on the mic for this one. However, let's talk a little bit, rehash what happened in Game 1, Dan. We have some time. It wasn't necessarily what we expected. LG was in the mix. Even TSM was in the mix. Dark Zero as well. They ended up cannibalizing each other. And, you know, the win doesn't always go towards some of the bigger expected names, but maybe the most deserving for sure in terms of playing that final.
この試合予選ですか？予選ではない、プロリーグだからね。全然本番。テックだっけ？ミートラバーの人たちが TSM はどこでも勝てるんだから俺らに POI くれって言ってまあそりゃそうだよな。 どこでも勝てるんだったら POA 渡してくれよって思っちゃうな。まあそれもそうなんだよな。なんかやっぱ勝ってるチームのランドマーク争いをしに行っちゃうと、それもそれでブーイングで怒っちゃうから何とも言えないんだよな。このバトルの難しいとこで言っちゃう。ファンが多いチームのランドマークにかぶせちゃうとブーイングすごいとか普通にありそう。
When you get into this pro league environment, things slow down a little bit. It's kind of like things get a little colder. People put their jackets on, they move a little slower.
まあ実際ファンも味方みたいなもんあるよね。バトラーはランドマーク争いにおいてファンも味方。
Not seeing as much conduits, that's for sure. Plenty of Horizon and Bang, almost the entire lobby throwing themselves on Horizon and Bang because we know how important both those legends are, and a slight bit more of aggression, I would say, here in North America.
ニルさんとこにかぶせたチーム炎上してたよね。そうなんだ。確かになんか炎上したような気がしたけど。まあどうしようもないよな。ファンが多いとやっぱ過激なファンもいるしな。配信者側でも止めれないし、どうしようもないよね。
Well, we should have match results coming up in just a moment from our last match. You're right on all those things, Dan. I mean, sometimes you have a different adoption of the meta at different stages of the season. The start of the season, clearly, it's going to be back and forth for many, many teams. Oblivion, though, they start on the 4th. 16 total points, 4 kills, 12 points. Complexity right behind them in second with a kill, and that'll give them 10 points overall. Skirt, 12 points, 5 kills. Replacement points, LG and TSM right behind. Good showings from them, and even
EU の解説もこの方々だった。EU と EU-NA は同じ人たちだね。毎年。EU-NA は基本的にはガスキンだとか、あとポールアウトとか結構決まってる人たちだね。
Influx of controller players being picked up by teams who want that one player to be able to get them out of a sticky situation. Your Verhos, for example, your Linus, teams that can have players just thrown into the mix to deal that damage and force those rotations that your IGL is trying to make. And the top 10 really does show that from that match number 1.
NA の順位ポイントで並べるリザルトがちょっと違和感、確かに変な感じですよね。ちょっとちょっと気持ち悪さあるよね。1位、2位、3位、4位、5位、6位じゃなくてポイントだからな、 NA はね。肌綺麗だよね。俺も肌綺麗だと思ったわ。やっぱ海外の人たちって病気したら保険料とかないからめっちゃくちゃかかっちゃうから、医療費とかちゃんと運動とかしてるだろうね。運動とかしてるからやっぱ肌綺麗なんだろうな。日本人も見習わないとね。マジツヤツヤやん。
But there were some new additions changed and added to Stormpoint, and that's kind of changed a little bit of the flow and given players some landing options. So kind of walk me through what has been the most significant change for you from Stormpoint that we've seen added.
ストーンポイントの変わったところかな。セントルっぽい POI added for early combatポテニタルなんだこれ。ワトソン、パイロン、エンド、セトステーションが追加されました。ホットドロップ、熱い。北エリアが改変された。で センターローテーション、セットステーションエンドフォーデッドゾーン、ニュースムーザートゥトランスレーション。違うな、トランジション。まあ、なんかストップで変わったよって言ってるね。全然読めねえ。なんか大文字で書かれると大文字でか、全角で書かれると何もわかんねえ。
I always find it so interesting having a chance. We've developed a relationship in our team with the developers.
変更点がありましたよって。
We had a chance to have them out to championships, and we're doing more of those calls. But just in my experience, how maps are adjusted, and they have very intricate knowledge of where fights take place at almost every single turn, kind of like a heat map. Higher heat signatures, higher fights, and they did do some very specific work on some of those hard.
この人たちいいマイク使ってるね。マイクいいマイク使ってるね。この人のマイクは5万円のマイク。配信者用マイクですね。SM2B。で右側の人が3万円ぐらいの昭和のマイク。
And gameplay, but also I think for fans at home and learning this map, a lot that you could take from in terms of, hey, you know what? I have been dying a lot in the Forbidden Zone beforehand. I realize that maybe that is a different.
マイク変えようかな。
Some of these matches, a lot of these things mirror, you know, the games that viewers at home can play and some of the things that they can learn from picking up pro play as well, Dan. So always good to get that information. Take a break. We are getting this lobby loaded up again as well, which is why we are having a little bit of a chat here, but it's always good to take some time, Dan. I guess this also opens up some of the meta conversation. I had kind of hinted at it earlier on. We've seen a little bit of the conduits, but to me, when you look at Conduit, when you look at Horizon, when you look at Bangalore, I mean,
あ、いや、右の人も SM7B かな。同じやつじゃねえかな、これ。同じやつ提供されてるのかな。どっちも高えやん。違うな、これでも SM7B。SM7DB かな。なんだろう。SM って書いてんな、でも。どっちも7万ぐらいするぞ。たっけ。いいマイク使ってますね。シュワ。
Ultimately, it's got to be Bangalore and Horizon as the two staples, especially on Storm Point. The smokes to be able to cross have always been so important.
最近バロでも大会前に大きな変更されたら怒ってるチームでいた。バロとかやっぱ難しいよね。バロとかそういうゲームはやっぱなんだろう、もう練習したことは一気に崩れちゃうからな。エーペックスは言うてもバトルはだからちょっと運要素あるって考えると、まあなんかまあって感じだね。キャスター陣は在宅勤務。まあ基本的に多分これグリーンバック抜いてるね。多分在宅だと思うよ。
and then benefit from that as well.
10 seconds. That makes all the difference. You know, we saw even
NA EU と2カ国というか 2リージョン多分担当するから、基本的にはまあ回しだけど、基本的に多分ローテーションで組まれてると思うな。
You know, a character that got some changes as well that is very good at adjusting the way the landscape is played is Catalyst. She had some changes in this recent patch that were intended to bring her
長っ、始まるまで遅っ。エーパックのサクサクだったぞ。NA 遅すぎだろ、始まんの。お腹空いちゃうよ。お腹空いた。もう久々に Uber Eats しようかな。Uber Eats 引退してたけど配信してるからいいかな。視聴者のみんなが見てくれるから俺は Uber Eats で。
the throw range. I mean, decrease that by 50% is massive. You're not able to kind of throw that goo out and just really grief teams who are trying to arrive instead.
リスタートしてた？ああ、じゃあ D 級か。始まった。恋フルは X セットかな？何試合 ?6 試合同じだよ。今ならまだ朝マック頼める。朝マックか。朝マックか。朝マックか。いやでもちょっとダイエット中だからやめる。朝マックは。朝マックはちょっとダメだ。ダイエット中に悪そう。お腹空いたけど我慢しよう。来週出るときにブクブクじゃちょっとねダサいんで、ちゃんと綺麗になれるようにマジダイエット中。一日一食生活。
Rather than playing either of those POIs which are currently free, this is just asserting dominance in the early stages here in Pro League, I think. Saying, look, we've been doing it in scrims, but now let's make sure we win these in match 1, in week 1, so then we can start to solidify this as our drop spot. Let's make them blink first and then retreat to a arguably worse POI.
Do you think that this is a mistake in some ways that can only
スキャンの仕方すごい。そこスキャンするんだ。エリア取られて詰めるか？詰めづらい。エコー HQ 結構これねだるそうやな。ランドマーク争い。長引くタイプの形してんな。フェイズがダウン取ってるぞ。As best they can. It doesn't really help either team, Dan, but that seems to be at least the way things have gone for now as we transition over to another part of the map. A huge fight still engaging. We've got Sarah Tricky as well. The new phase squad. Snipe down has fallen down. あれさっきいたっけ？フェイズを取り切った。あれさっきいたっけ？ああ。さっきいたっけ？3キル、フェイズが。そしてダークゼロがなんか急になんかファイトし始めたぞ。どうした？Two players that are alive, but Carter trying to get this res off.
So valuable to have the conduit queue already ticking up. Did not have to hit 2 shield cells, which would have taken a ton of time. Could have obviously gone for the heal, decided not to, and is going to play around the knockdown shields. うわー、上がっちゃったな。あー、もったいない。今の上がっちゃったのもったいないな。上がったから負けちゃったな。なんだみんな急になんか戦闘し始めてるぞ。どうした序盤なのになんかすごい。やばいなんかすごい。おかしくなっちゃった。1試合目で壊れた？急に。どうしちゃったんだ。おかしくなっちゃった。久々に吉野家食おうかな。うわ、フレッシュネスバーガー食いてー。バーキンか。ハンバーガー食うんだったらバーキン食いてーな。バーガーキング手下にあるかな。バーガーキング。もうウーバーイーツの配送料高すぎだろ。バーキン頼もうと思ったら配送料800円するんだけどバカか。1食分の飯やんけ。配送料800円って何事？ウーバーイーツなんて頼めません。高すぎる。スキヤなんて配送料50円やぞ。なんで？ callers of where the zone will end. He prides himself on this, has ever since we've seen him enter into this league. And so if I was somebody who's betting, I'd say they have a pretty decent idea of
ダイエ
where
ッ
this
ト
is going to go.
いやいや、バーキン食いたいなって思っちゃったんだよな。でも今日の飯それで終わりだから。今日のご飯終了。
Teams who prefer playing Edge now, and in scrims, arguably Edge has had a little bit more success at times. So that's why teams are going to be a little bit more comfortable at moving in.
お腹空いたんだよな。でも今日まだ飯食ってないからさ。そりゃそうか、起きたばっかだから。なんかあれだね。NA ってキャラ構成おもんないね。キャラのレパートリー少なすぎておもんないね。NA のキャラ構成に関しては。そう思うとエパクノスっていいな。クリプトもいるし、ワトソンもいるし、ニューキャもいるし、そう思うとおもろいな。なんか、構成の幅なさすぎだろ、NA。Two different outcomes potentially here as this game continues. The zone about to close in with round 1. 20 seconds away. FaZe still making their way. 確かにジブもレイズもいる。バルキーもいる。NA 構成つまんないな、そう思うと。さすがに。
Apologize for continuing to use that. I think I'm just caught up in my vernacular, but I would say it's an interesting choice too for Snipedown.
マジ同じじゃね。コンジット、ホライゾン、バンガロール。しかもレブナントもいますからね、エーパックノース。なんと。レブナントまでいます。ストッポだからどうなんだろうね。そこもちょっと。
LG is where Sweet ended up, and you could see for a temporary time there, LG are going to be playing that gatekeeping style once more. But over towards Barometer, teams are just trying to do what they can to stay alive. DNO, who were part of that early contest that we were watching down towards Echo, have been able to find some room to play here on the southern side.
That's a good sign. Can they make it through the smokes? Yes, they will. No problem there. Top of Barometer, Bursty. Dan Mantic just going to do the best they can to ward off any attempt at establishing a position with another team nearby them. Knowing full well probably not going to get it down there, but again, showing force, showing presence, and possibly getting some collateral KP if it ends up being something like an opportunity for another team nearby. As we switch over to TSM, the story undoubtedly in North America, the team to win
エーパックの差多彩すぎる。まあ多彩なのかな。両つべと同時配信、そう、Twitch、YouTube 同時配信してます。TSM はまあさすがにバロメーターが過ぎるから TSM あれなんかな、動き方的に第3リングを見てから入っていくって感じか。いやでもなんか賢いな。最近のアンチ傾向結構ばらつきあるから第3リングを見てから入っていくっていう TSM のこの動き方は結構賢そう。
Tricky situation, and this is one of the downsides of rotating so late is you can be focused by some of these squads who have already taken a home, and this is where the evac tower can certainly benefit you if you are one of those teams. It's eternal at the moment.
ねえ、エーバックのそう思うとおもろいな。なんか見応えあるわ。いろんなキャラクターいていろんななんか構成生まれるから。
I love this area, by the way. One of the newest areas to be added to Storm Point. Really fun fight. Very good hot drops. Great engagements. A lot of ways to play it. Low ground.
そう思うといいか?
So far though, just gonna pass each other. Sweet, Slayer, Funk. Sweet, obviously with his leadership, knows when it's time to take a fight. When it is time to move on and find something better. Eternal feel the same way. And with Carter's heroics earlier on, Dan, they probably don't want to push it. They're happy to be alive here.
17 squads still remaining, and that's probably why you don't want to push, because there is going to be another team most likely around the corner waiting to take advantage of any damage that has been done. It's all starting to get pretty sticky now in any location you find yourself in. LG, interestingly, rotated out of their area, and they've gone further north to try and take a different approach into this next zone. They didn't feel comfortable where they were because they were quite vulnerable to their backside, so instead they're going to be moving for a different spot.
TSM は初動してますか？ TSM 初動してない。
I mean, he is one of those players that truly just has always been a part of the NA scene. Whether it's been the highs and the lows, I mean, from getting to land, getting ready to go ahead.
おっと、国戦
catching COVID.
なんかね、分かってないか？分かってる。やっぱリドルぐらいじゃないと国戦決められないんだな。国戦っていうか何だったんだ？普通にバレてたんかな。うわー、逆にマジハイド失敗したら終わりなんだよな。ハイドは失敗したら終了。やっぱ国戦はちゃんとインでやらないとね。ちょっとアプローチすぎやね。やっぱ気持ちが前出ちゃうためだね。やっぱこれやっぱジャパニーズ忍者ないと無理だ。ジャパニーズ忍者しか無理なんでね。皆さん日本人しかこれ真似しちゃダメです。ハイドは。ここファイトすんの？マジ？こんなとこファイトしちゃダメじゃね？どういうこと？なんでこんなとこファイトしちゃうの？だってこれリパーティーだよ。これどっちも不幸なんじゃね？オプティックがこれでちょっとここファイトしちゃダメでしょ。何だったんだ？さすがにこれにパーティーいるってことわかるから結構やばそうだけどな。
Round 3 about to close, Dan. Things are starting to get testy. We are running into that time of the game where there's just not enough room for all these teams to coexist. And this rotation is going to be a tight one.
確かになんか上の人たちも来なかったの。なんで来なかったんだろう。なんで上の人たちも来なかったの？もったいなくね？ワンダウンして次の移動で絡まれるから絶対上の人たち来た方がいいんだけどな。この漁夫めっちゃ近いし。これ来ないとさ同じとこ行っちゃうから結局後々当たる運命になっちゃうけどな。なんで来なかったんだ？もったいない。
Still on the northern side of this circle, still making their way around and still avoiding fights.
Very interesting. I mean, they have really chosen to take this different route, not just for that immediate interaction where we saw them pass.
うわー、エグコンジったらてめって2個飛んできたぞ。エグこれ地獄やんここ。コンジったらてめって2個なんだけどここ。ダークゼロか？ダークゼロっぽいか？ダークゼロっぽいか？ヒル上げてんなめっちゃ。うわダークゼロだな。サイクスのアルティメットっぽいか？そして2人っていうの分かってそうだな。そのまま取りに来ても良さそうやん。最後なかったら。
You can fly through the air sometimes unnoticed. Optic eliminated. GKS also eliminated. Eternal down to a 2, but at least able to put down some good damage as a squad at the moment just to make themselves big. But there are plenty of teams in the area which could prove to be difficult for them when they do make their rotation from this northern side. It's Dark Zero who are close. Elsewhere, look at all the teams here on the southern side. LG, Ape, FaZe, Flat, they're all here fighting.
Yeah, Panders and Zeraturkey again gonna have to do work.
いや返しそうこの2人だったら。
He cannot be picked up this time, has to deliver to the banner, to the beacon, and so it just may not be enough for them to sustain fully. They want to get the KP.
偉いよかっきれ。
And now they're going to get the res. This was chaos, and you
あれ一人どこ行った？
LG a part of that as well. And they're moving in just at the wrong
1対1だけどどっか行った。
on the other side of your map. We're not watching it yet, but just to keep an eye. TSM elevate Nox.
この人どこにいたっけもともと。
The very same thing on the other side. But right now, LG,
このホライドの人。名前読めないんだよな。スレイヤーわかるけど。
We're safe on this wall right now. We're safe on this wall. We have full control of this little hill right here, guys. We probably are just gonna play close side island, okay? On my yellow. Yes, yes. We're probably gonna play. We're gonna walk in super late. We're gonna wall one direction. Play the other side of the wall. Shoot behind us. Shoot these fuckers. They're all gonna come down bottom door and pre-arcing in front of them. Come right now.
あ、いいや、草。
60 flash. 60 flash. 60 flash. One. He's literally one. So guys, let me play for these kills. I do. Just keep walking. We're gonna go to cannon. On the cannon. On the cannon. Close. On our cannon.
あ、死んだ。財に落とした。竹林へ。フェルバリケード。さあ、正面ファイト。いやー、これなんかすげえいるな。えぐ。なんか TSM もちゃんと生き残ってんな。ダークゼロ、ダークゼロかな、さっきのゼロだったんかな。熱っ、この隙間バンガローだと耐えれそう。ミートラバー、あーミートラバーか。うわ TSM なんやかんやいいとこいるな。別に次もいい。ダークゼロ、ダークゼロ強すぎ。君たち強すぎ。ダークゼロ強すぎね。8キル。LG just a rat. Sweet's done very well of making the best of a bad situation, by the way. That entire rotation that LG made was an incredible decision from them, but unfortunately just not able to get going in the fight and surprised by one of the squads on the rock. Elevate がこのタイミングでね、各チーム起き出すとチャンスだ。LG、スイートが走ってった。スイート走ってった。こんにちは。入ってきた。なんだやばい、スイートどうした行ったり来たり。Trying to get this Phoenix kid off Dan top 5. Can he do it? This would be massive if Shubi can get elevate up, especially as the zone looks to be closing in on them. I also love it from Sweet as well. あ、スイートがバレた。あー、スイートは先に死んじゃった。オキシ立て直した。ダークゼロオキシジン TSM。あー、オキシは苦しい。おっと王者対決だ。熱っ TSM とダークゼロ王者対決。さあどっちの IGL が優れてるかっていう。さあカバー入る。いや偉い、カバー偉い。サイク強っ。あー春だやっぱり。やっぱ TSM なんか。王者対王者。熱ー。TSM TSM これはさすがに CEO ですわ。apexlegends CEO。Managing to turn on them, do the damage, take down Zero before he fell was very impressive indeed. And TSM back on top. さすがに熱いな。First and second place. Dark Zero just ahead of TSM in the overall standings, may I add, but a big win for TSM. Well, Dark Zero made, I think, a much bigger showing of their game there and their early late game because they had several fights that went their favor. They got a lot of extra KP there and they kind of demanded
the zone's attention for quite a while. So other teams really forced the fight themselves. No one was trying to push them within that center spot of the zone. But once it pulled a little bit where they knew they had to move,
カバー偉かったな、今エヴァンの。
super smart to just keep that. And there's a little bit
エヴァンかな。
too, Dan. I mean, easily you could have seen Dark Zero
うわ、キモーンキルロ、リザルトキモすぎる。
shoot through the smoke. No, there's a team.
マジでキモい。
Just ended up being all the fighting happening near the Dragon Ball on the left side.
リザルトキモすぎるこれ。
Attractive for them, and I think they thought easy KP.
でもダークゼロは結局ポイント多いか。ダークゼロはキル数で、21ポイント。TSM が19ポイント。
TSM with the actual victory and maybe the moral victory or the emotional victory against DC, but Oxygen Esports, Elevate Gaming, and LG round out your top 5 with a shout out to Oblivion, who again have a pretty solid game too.
Yeah, I think if you were to go back and watch the rotations of TSM, Dark Zero, and LG, all very interesting in their own way, but all brilliant IGLs showing why they have, you know, the
TSM だってアンチ外から来てるからな、ゆっくりと。
across the years because there were some very interesting decisions made, but also ones that were very important to keep their team alive at the right time. And then a final 3v3 like that. I mean, we'd love to see those engagements happening time and time.
TSM 見に行くか。さすがに喜んでるか。さすがに喜んでるからナイスナイスぐらいで終わるか。ちょっと見に行こう。どんなリアクションだったのか。なんかあんま喜んでなさそう、ワンちゃん。あんま喜んでねえ。やっぱあんま喜んでねえな。あんま喜んでねえ。全然喜んでねえやん。周りが喜んでるけど、ハル全然喜んでねえ。まあ普通だなって感じなんだな。周りが喜んでるな。ナイス。どちらかというと後ろのレップスとか喜んでそう。また妥当ですよねって当たり前だよねみたいな感じで。And then match 2 was a scenario where they end up in first and second, and that's why there's only a point to split them at the moment. Two teams who are very closely contested, but it shows that Dark Zero, you know, with this new change, they are up there and they are competing well with TSM. Let's go to a break, everyone. さあ1分半後。あ、ヘムロック作ってる。まああれだね。ゼノックスライドやね。ゼノックスとクラスト。Dark Zero going up against TSM in that final fight. It's Dark Zero who come out of the game with more points, but of course that championship banner, and of course I would say maybe a moral victory in the final 3v3 fight certainly went to TSM. And also, you know, there's always a chance of bonus points if you can get victories on the board. Remember, there could be one extra point if we see TSM get. ルー、確かにルーどこ行ったんだろう。It's unlikely. Very often we don't see 4 victories for a squad, but these are the series results from. アルブラレリーと組んでたのにね。どこ行っちゃったんだろう。ルーは。ルーの行方知ってる方は募集。After that, Oblivion still featuring in the top 3 on 24, but then it's all to play for from there below. Mark, anyone can jump into the top 10, and all it takes is one good game. It does indeed. A little bit of a surprise. Of course, we're only 2 games in. See Optic Gaming struggling a little bit. It was a pretty rough zone for them to get into game number 1. That one was maybe a little bit more accessible, but still some ground to be traveled for them. So they'll be hoping something COL に行ったんだ。Some decent points on the board as well, but I think it's just synonymous of the ALGS, right? Especially in North America. メンバーめっちゃ変わってんな、NA も。NA マジでガラッと変わってんな。なんかやっぱイヤー3とかやっぱイヤーの節目ってみんな変わるんだな、各リージョン。でも今回のエーパックの音すごい変わっちゃったけど、まあ、基本あんま変わってなかったリージョンだからな。そう思うと まあとどまってる TSM とかはやっぱ強いかな。 TSM ぐらいじゃね残ってんの。あとオキシジンか。オキシジンと TSM ぐらいじゃないか、元のあれは。そしてフェーズと TMPR。 デジ持ってる。結構初動デジ強すぎだろ。降りてきた。あったか今。いやでもこれ追いかけられない。スナイプがいい視線通してる。あ、やべえ。いやいい、うまい。いやなんか来た。なんか来たぞ。やっぱ一人で倒すんじゃないこれ。ワンチャン一人倒すと逃げろ。スナイプ。いやスナイプしてたわ。誰だあと一人。やばい。パンダーズ。パンダーズ逃げろ。パンダーズ逃げろ。やばい。めちゃくちゃ受けられてる。やばい、光ってる。かわいそう。エコ HQ。
I love the Mozambique on contest, by the way. I just feel like it's one of those guns. If you can find it, you pick it up because it does so much damage. And dropping game in,
ここは初動ファイト。
I would say certainly the better side of this contest in our first 3 games here on Storm Point. They seem to just be constantly outputting damage. And
まあ本番で初動ファイトはね、このシークレットフォーミュラーもランドマークなかったんかーい。この今ウォールにいるチームなくね、ランドマーク。そもそもランドマークねえじゃん。
Also, as much as it's frustrating for FaZe, but you've got to give your hat off, or take your hat off to Secret Formula. They were losing the battle at Northpad, so they dropped just slightly east, and it allowed them to loot up in the building.
まあ本番で初動ファイトしちゃうとね、やっぱポイント美味しいからな。美味しくなっちゃうな。
The areas of Milton Station, Native are going to be dead center to that as we take a little look on complexity.
あ、このルイスみたいなやつがルーか。
By the way, the greatest heirloom ever. I don't care what anyone says. I'm the biggest Final Fantasy VII stan you will ever.
アルブラはどこだったっけ？スカートで言ったかな。やばい、ダークゼロ。あ！詰まった？
Even a Buster Sword won't save you there, yeah. But they've been able to at least get out of the Trident.
Combined materia, heal all, cure 2, all. Anyway, enough of my nerdiness. Native Gaming. And the ones doing the
ダークゼロコンジ積んだっけ？あ、コンジ積んでるね。まだあるね。
That's a frustrating one for them as well.
アンチ読めないから、アンチ読めてたかな。ジェンが死んじゃった。ジェンアンチャンダークゼロアンチ埋めてなくて周りから来ると思ってなかったって感じかな。まあクラフトも知ったしな。分かってなかった説はある。なんかおかしくね？めちゃくちゃキル早いやん。急に 急にキル加速し始めた。 おかしくなっちゃった。やばい。すっごい。すんごい。これスクリームですよ。常用的に言うとスクリームやん、こんなん。まあでもこれが逆になんか大会とあれはあんま関係なさそうやね。ここ大会とスクリームでほぼ同じ感じの環境っぽいな。 NAJ はやっぱ日和らないね。行きますね。ここで引くんだ。アンチ来るから。いやすごいね本当に。スクリームやんこんなん。あ TSM とオキシジェン。ここは TSM 別パーティー来てるよ。でも一方的だから呂布入れない。
as fast as perhaps they thought they would have if that fight had gone on for too long, but they need a game plan to move from this position.
It's interesting. I saw Verholst's game attack there was in all caps, and I misread it as TSM.
本番になると残りまくる A パックノーツはおかしいのか。なんともいい。でもまあでも A パックノーツも A パックノーツそれはそれ環境だからなんともいないよな。まあでもやっぱ第3やっぱ昨日の A パックノーツ勢は第3リングでファイトしなかったっていうのがちょっと。ダークゼロこれ死んだ。絶対死んだ。ああ待って前見ない。スキャン来たー。地獄のスキャン。あでもドロップインザゲーム効くんかーい。お前らも引くんかい。多分さっきのやつだと思ったんかな。さっきのやつが待ってたって思ったんかな。やばい地獄のこのひー地獄すぎる。
I want them to have a breathalyzer. They are all over the place, but they get the job done. They survive for now, but what are their meds looking like? Because you would have thought they would have played for the economy of being able to get that res, maybe crafting a few med kits over down on the southern side.
地獄すぎるダークゼロ。
And now they're probably thinking, hey, it's plan B. We might have to play this one out as a duo.
So Flat are in a pretty good spot at the moment as well. They can hold down this position for quite some time. And having the rock behind you just means that you have that like extra little bit of security that you're not going to necessarily get pushed from that angle. They just have to be careful of the northern side. And they could certainly grief a few teams that are arriving late, but Sucking are arriving late.
そろりそろり。
Oh dear. This is not going to go well for someone. However, they don't get
いやーこれ終わった。もうでもやばいよ。このそろりそろり作戦はマジ強い。
a little bit stationary putting those shots out onto the black hole, so they'll still be vulnerable to those grenades, and LG will be able to survive. Darkveil has to go down just to give them the extra little bit of cover. They clean up the rest of the kills, but are they going to be able to survive here? Because there are still teams who are doing damage from a distance. LG just need to reset.
車線やば。
It's a little bit of a rough spot though, because you can see they're being shot from Pylon, they're being, excuse me, it's shot from Ceto Station, they're being shot from the teams who are inside a mill at the moment, Optic Gaming and Elevate, and they're kind of, when that Darkveil goes, they have to make a decision. They have to make a play. Will they slide down and try and play underneath the building in front of them, or do they just try and find a rock to play behind that denies those LOSs? Dark Zero story continues though. Jim Burton is still just
ワンチャンさせできるか?
Just a banner.
He's more than just a banner.
He's more than just a banner, but it's a pretty scary banner to be holding if you can get hold of it and bring it back into the map. I tell you that for sure. But It's going to be a difficult journey for them as PLP now having a little scuffle
ライニング
Jurassic Park. Monsoon's also got a knock in the kill feed, so teams now starting to be forced together as this zone is closing, and there are still about 4 squads outside of this circle, so this kill feed's about to be lit up ever so slightly.
なんかアルブラレイもいねえか。マックがいる、マックが。マークなんか G7 もちょこちょこいるな。多分なかったんだろうけど G7 は持つ価値あるんだな。 A パックノースで誰も G7 持たないけど NA でちょこちょこいるな。持てなかったら G7 は持つんだね。
Plenty of teams still in this lobby that can cause you an issue as the zone continues to pull west, which is even worse news really for these teams at Jurassic who are going to have to move as far possible across the map to go there.
アルティメット返し返し。あー、カオティック浮いちゃったな。一人浮いちゃったか、そこに対して PLP 偉い。アルティメット使って一人の浮いたチーム一人を倒しに行く。
Behind the box will be player number 2, but good crossfire that's happening at the moment just to try and cover the angles, but not good enough to help the teammate. And PLP still healthy, still well, and will get the knocks and the finishes onto those players. So PLP doing very well just to time that push accordingly and make sure they take advantage of one player being slightly out of position.
残り30秒。今日大学のテストだけど見ちゃうね。大学のテスト頑張れ。アーカイブはいつでも見れるからね。あれ PLP また落ちた。なんかまた別パーティー来たな。ヘリ速そう。ヘリ速えな。
Yeah, Skirt came in for the third party, catching PLP whilst they were kind of still looting after that fight, and now
アイジェル落ちちゃった。いや、きつ。セトステーションまだ残ってるか。動けねえ。フレックスも絡まれてる。フレックス絶望的やん。これアルブラリーたちも結構やばくねえか。時間やばいぞ。ジェンバーテン起きたけど。ダークゼロどうだ。行くしかねえ。ジェンバーテン帰ってきた。なんかジェンバーテンが帰ってきたのが一番強い。どういうこと？そしてイタチーム引いてった。引くんだこれ。引いたら死にそうだけど死んでる。ちゃんと死んでたわ。だよね。サイクス強すぎー。はあ G7 インチキだろ。 G7 ってこんな腰打ち当たりませんけども。あんた普通に3発全部当たってそうだし。somehow escaped from a situation where you thought they were going to get run down as they rotated into zone. And we do have a listening with Dark Zero. Let's see how they try and plan this next move. サイクスやっぱ火力やべえな。ダークゼロ TSM-LG 残ってるの。 LG 毎回残ってんな。お、しかも LG 3球取った。俺の G7 も上がってんだよな。ここ行くんだ。さあ決死のファイト。ああいいね、うまい。アークスターでピーク押さえてありつく。2年も引いてる。絡まれたくないんだ。なんかなんか NA すごいね。めっちゃ美味しい。はあ、めっちゃうまいや。なんで引くのめっちゃ引いたな。しかもこれ、ね、マーケットブラックマーケットあるからクソ美味しいやん。めちゃくちゃ拾えるし超美味しいやん。美味しすぎる。これそのまま引きすぎたから空いてんじゃないかな。 ヘリ速っ。キューブ対24で8の21。速っ。ああ、だからもうこれこんな環境だったらさ、こんな速い環境だったらやっぱもう実力あるチームが絶対勝つよね。これこそこのキルムーブ環境こそ実力があるチームが勝ちそう。ファイト強いチーム全部勝ちそうだしな。ああ、もう TSM ボコボコ勝ち、ボロ勝ちやん。ボロ勝ちやろ。TSM ダークゼロボロ勝ちやん、こんな。サイクスこの HP で撃っちゃうの？強気すぎん？グレード落としてるし、ゼロ強すぎだろ。エレベーター入ってたのか。サイクス強気すぎだろ。アーマー削れて 1HP 状態打ちゃいくってマジ強気だな。あそこバッテリー巻かないんだな。本当に自分のパワーがあるっていうの分かってるからやる動きだろうな。パワーだな NA は。やっぱ火力でポジションだとか全て奪い返すのやばいな。ダークゼロこの蘇生分かったら上がってきそうだけど、ダークゼロあれか、ホライゾン積んでないのか。右ルート選択。NA はあれだね、アンチ取ってたら勝ちとかあんまないね。ちゃんと強い。もうちゃんだからダークゼロとさ、もう TSM しか残ってないやん。ほぼこの2チームだけ。もうダークゼロさすがに厳しそう。さすがに厳しい。 DSM これ2連勝じゃね。 TSM これ TSM だろ 100%。 こんなポジション。エレブレイトが落ちちゃうと、下に降りちゃうと多分下に張り付いてるチームいるから、張り付いてるチームからフォーカスもらってやられそう。 TSM とエレブレイトしか多分フルパいないね。さっき逃げたローバが一人で残ってる。
Dark Veil to go down as well to maybe split this zone in half, but Shubi's got a wingman, and we know this care package weapon is pretty much as strong as you can imagine, and with some smokes and a digi on it.
さあ TSM に対して仕掛けるか。さあ TSM このエレベートを弾けるか。ダークゼロはさあ TSM どうするかだね。どう対処するか。多分フェロバリケン残ってるから最後まで。これエレベートがありきっちゃった。もうこれ TSM 勝ったわ。もう勝ちやんこんな TSM の。もうこれは TSM 勝ちやん。2連勝やん。おっと、いやさすがにないな。TSM これが世界王者ですか。TSM TSM TSM TSM。さすがに世界王者強すぎか。圧倒的やんもう。これ何ポイントいった？あ、でも圧倒的と思ったけど、ダークゼロも全然圧倒的じゃなかったわ。思った以上にダークゼロひっついてんな。TSM ダークゼロ、強すぎ問題です。この2チーム、おい世界王者強すぎだろ。この2チームしかまだ世界を取ってないのに NA でも圧倒的やんけ。どうなっとるんや。TSM just had to clean up the pieces. One player did go down, but it never really felt like they weren't going to win that one. And with 12 kills alongside it, it's a 24-point bomb coming in. えぐいな。2023 ALGS Championship champions.
And you always wonder when you go from a world championship into a new season, is the best team in the world.
確かに TSM いつもこけんだけどな。TSM プロリーグちょっと危ないってなってるからな、いつも。今回飛ばしてんね。飛ばしてるね TSM。 確かに今回はイヤホーはもう初っ端からぶっ飛ばして終わらせるか。
Their backs against the wall for the majority of the game, able to get back up to a full 3, and they pull out 9 kills alongside it. So still a very impressive performance from them.
Yeah, very strong performance from them. Elevate as well, 16 points for them. And I mentioned in the pre-show that this is a team to watch because I feel like there's something good.
飛ばしてもらわないと困るけどな。飛ばさないとエイペックスアジアフェスに出てこれないかもしれないから。アジアフェスで日本来てくれるはずだけど、これで多分さ成績悪かったら来ないとか言いそうだから、成績よく来てほしいわ。もう余裕っていう状態で来てほしい TSM には。ワンチャン成績悪かったら来ないとか言いそうだからな。アジアフェスでカジュアル大会やってる場合じゃねえ。俺たちは本気で競技やってんだ。プロリーグのために棄権しますって言いそう。
Unfortunately, FaZe won't have a chance to respond to that here in this match week because we're going to move to World's Edge next. But certainly interesting to see teams changing their drop spot depending on what's going down.
Great showcase of not only what this lobby can offer, but TSM and how to IGL towards success. When you look at the videotape, my goodness, I had a chance to watch the first game that we were casting, seeing TSM win against Dark Zero. They walked up on that.
ハル喜んでるからちょっと見に行くか。ハル喜んでるかな。あ、これナイスいいか。あ、でも喜んなさそう普通に。また長いくれじゃない？
It's been a minute. You know, we had a chance to talk to you in EMEA. We're just in the catwalk. Look right, look right. Evan, look, or Jordan, look left, look left. Yeah, yeah. Looking by with you now. We're just stalling behind the catwall. Okay, you have bang out? I used it on him. Can you bang out? Oh, okay. I used it. They're fighting.
俺キリ間に合うか？
Just keep, just chill. Place off. I'm high melting. Really close. Give me knock. Nice, guys. Good fucking job, guys.
これもう全然喜んないもん。もう全然喜んないやん。こいつら。こいつらもう当たり前だと思ってる。チャンピオン取るのが当たり前だと思ってるわ。全然喜んでない。全然喜んでないわ。当たり前だと思ってるわ。チャンピオンが当たり前。全然喜んでないわ。
Yeah, I mean, they're the best in the world for a reason. A clash of the titans, if you will, in back-to-back games there. They're showing why they're the best, and they're going to continue to show it throughout the splits. It's not surprising. We've seen them.
マジで軽いわ。
See them continue to do it in day one. I mean, everybody knew this was coming.
Yeah, seeing the differences between EMEA and NA has been clear as well, certainly composition-wise. Is there anything that you really picked up on in differences, J-Hawk?
あ、でもこれさ、ボーナスポイントあるんだったら、でも無理やな。50ポイント離したら、ボーナスポイントって言ったけど、これ無理だろ。ダークゼロ引っつきすぎ。さすがに無理やな。いや、今回のこの3試合で46と53だから、もうここがほぼ勝ち上がりでしょ。もうこれが多分ほぼ1位、2位でしょ。下の方だってめちゃくちゃ低いもん。6位から17ポイントだよ。6位とだって1位のさ、これ 36?1 位と6位で36ポイント離れてるぞ。もう第3ゲームで。えぐない？第3ゲームで36ポイント離れてるもん。
This game was wild because I thought immediately we were going to get the Clash of the Titans. TSM, DZ, LG, Elevate, all these teams were looking like they were going to get to the end, but they don't. LG gets eliminated here, and we have a final three of Skirt, Complexity, and Oblivion.
えぐいな。
I loved it because these are three teams that have something to prove. Complexity with a roster change. Skirt is a unison of multiple different players from other teams, and Oblivion coming from the PSQs. It was a really great end game, and I loved that to start off North America, some teams that people have had questions about sort of answer those questions immediately. Now, can they continue to do it throughout the day? That's the big question mark.
I mean, obviously, game one gave us a hint that maybe Oblivion are going to be.
確かにダークゼロえぐい。ダークゼロだったって最初ジェンがしょっぱな死んだもんな。あそこから3位まで行ったって考えたらやばいな。ダークゼロ。そういえば忘れてたけど。ダークゼロそういえばしょっぱなトライデントで事故ってさらにアンチガイも結構グロいことになったけど、そっからなんか3位まで来てるからな。何なんだ。
Teams that seem to have the biggest impact in that late game ended up being the TSMs, the DZs who got there a little later. And I'm just wondering how much that timing you're seeing play as a part of actually changing the tide versus just being in the right spot and maybe a little bit too early.
I do think it's important. Even Oxygen, who we just saw die in third there, they were sitting in that spot almost the entire game waiting for.
そしてあれでしょ、次のワールドゼッジはランドマークTSM とダークゼロはストーンポイントはキルポイントで伸ばすタイプで、そしてワールドゼッジになるとラバサイフォンとハーベスターでしょ。終わりやん。ラバサイフォンハーベスターアンチもがっつり取ります。ワールドゼッジストーンポイントは9取れればよかったです。よし順調。ワールドゼッジよし、ここから中入りムーブするぞ。終わりやん。最高やん。もうこっから最強ランドマーク2つ。
I think realistically, based on the positions that TSM had, they had the most cover, so naturally the other two teams are just going to duke it out and see what happens. But I do want to shout out E8 here because we've been singing the praises of TSM and DZ. E8 has been dominating in scrims, and the question was, can they continue it in Pro League match days? They're doing it right now.
待て、エヴァンの武器キモくね。今気づいたけど、エヴァンの武器キモすぎなかった今。ヘムロックネメシス持ってなかった今。変態やん。ヘムロックネメシス何？変態すぎだろ。
Taking a look at this entire roster, AvsB, J-Hawk, since we have you here, what's maybe the biggest story you're looking at now for the second half, our next transition into our last three games on World's Edge?
でも逆に下のチームは助かるな。この10位以下。10位以下さ、ポイントやばくない？ 10 ポイントでほぼ。10位以下ほぼ10ポイントなんだけど。1回呼ばれたらさ、最下位のチームで1回呼ばれたらさ、5位まではいけるぞ。1回1位取ったら5位まで入るんだけど、やばない？どういうこと？ TSM とダークゼロが取りすぎて。えぐー。まあえぐいか。上がポイント持ちすぎやね。はい、終わり。
in round number 1. Well, they're doing it so far, but we're only halfway through. That's the crazy thing, right? It's very easy to take your foot off the gas, thinking that you're having a great day, that everything's going your way, but then the map changes, then the rotates change, then the contests change. All of this changes up halfway through. So it's about concentrating on the job ahead and not kind of patting yourself on the back too early here for Elevate. But I'm excited to see what they can do on World's Edge too.
So, AJ Hawk, before we let you go, I kind of wanted to give you a chance to do what you do. I mean, you're going, part-time, so it's going to be more of these videos hopefully heading out. Every video starts with what story do I want to tell? Over the course of today, we've kind of titled it The Great Reset on our end in terms of teams looking to see what they can do, shift the tiles, shift the puzzle pieces to have a chance at competing with the big names. How would you craft this story? What would the title of this video be in your eyes, and what can people expect who are watching the next few games?
Well, so far, as we've seen with TSM and Dark Zero continuing to dominate, a lot of people are expecting at some point someone else has to win a LAN, right? But if you look at the story from these two teams' POVs, they don't want to go down. They don't want to be the team that finally falls off and somebody else takes the throne. And so, as much as we want to tell other stories and talk about the other teams, it still remains to be seen who's going to step up to the plate and do it. As of right now, E8's trying, but even they are not able to overcome TSM and Dark Zero to start off NA Pro League.
Amazing stuff. It's really maybe who's going to elevate to that spot, you could say as well.
Hey.
Amazing stuff, Jayhawk. Thank you so much for being with us and hanging out on our halftimes. It's always fun. Make sure you are following AJ Hawk on all of his socials, his YouTube channel, fantastic videos. And I think, do you stream, Jayhawk, as well? You got a stream?
I do. I'm actually doing watch parties right now, so come on over if you want
Watch
to.
party right now.
All right, check them out. And hey, thanks again, man. We'll see you on future broadcasts, I'm sure, and definitely around the ALGS. AJ Hawk, everybody, thank you so much, man. All right, we have the Challenger circuit as well for those who want to get involved.
最近あの人ネメシスをプラウラみたいに使ってる。おかしいな。ネメシスってプラウラだったっけ？ネメシスプラウラ運用。
With your buddies. We've had some amazing stories in the past with the Challenger circuit, and registration for February 3rd through 5th, Circuit 1, closes in just 10 days. So if you had an inkling, an itch, I don't know, just a thought, why not try it? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Maybe you end up making something special occur. Anyways, wanted to give you guys that information. Dan, take a break. You've been casting. You've been here this entire first half. Mark and I are going to get into the second half of games. And I guess to lead into that, Mark, I want to talk to you about what does this mean here now that we're in World's Edge? One thing that we may see are some composition adjustments. I think we've gotten teams a little more used to that. I know TSM for sure adds the conduit to their roster when they don't play it on Stormpoint. But what else does this mean for you map-wise? We've looked at this shift so much. I mean, at the very least, last 3 games of the set, you got to make things happen, especially if you're in the bottom 10.
I mean, I think it depends what POI you're playing from a lot of the time as well. If you're playing a very edge-based one, your composition is
ネメシス腰打ちリコイルむずい印象ですけどどうですか？基本的には ADS して打つべきだからな。はい、そしてワールドエッジラバーサイフォンハーベスター終わり。ラバーサイフォンハーベスターで終わり。最強ランドマーク2つ持ってます彼ら。バックゼロ TSM。
An EMEA special. We'll see if North America tries to take it and put their own spin on it as we see FaZe, Sarah Tricky, Panders, and Snipe down.
また初動ファイトしてるフェイズ。全かぶりかもしかして。全かぶりじゃん。もう足の引っ張り合いじゃね。どっちがプロリーグ落ちるか問題の足の引っ張り合いしてるもしかして。
The knuckle cluster right there.
Yeah, we are going to see this contest go down. This is one that's been going on for quite some time as well. It's going to be dropping gaming versus FaZe. You just wonder if this is going to be a contest where nobody got any opening damage. So is it going to be one that's a slow burner like it has been in scrims? I mean, honestly, this contest seems to have taken for 5-6 minutes to be resolved. Or are FaZe going to rotate away and try and play a little bit of a smarter game here? Go over to the no-name village, go over to the... and just see if they can grab a little bit of loot and continue on their way. Elsewhere, you can see the survey camp is looking a little bit ugly at the moment for two teams because there's some punches being thrown here. Complexity are going to be one of those teams. And of course, we have another team in front of them who's trying to take away the long-term POI here, of course.
初動ファイト。EC と COL。初動ばっかやな。そう思うと A パックノスってやっぱ本番前までに分かれるね。本番絶対かぶせないっていうチームが多いけど、めっちゃかぶってるやん。
Early fighting as well is something that we'll see probably more so as this day goes on. Teams maybe get a little bit more desperate, and you know, in some ways we'll see teams possibly give up, but it's always a risk to go ahead and challenge. You never really know, and especially game 4, so pivotal, Mark, and just setting yourself up for success.
構成すごっ。
Have a good placement in day 1.
ホライゾンヒューズ
and having a little fun on the Mirage ship. As we get an overview of the map, what are we seeing?
Well, it's important the complexity won that contest because the zone is going towards
あれダークゼロランドマーク変えたんだ。ダークゼロってダークゼロスカイフックフックに変えたんだ。壁やめた？壁どこなんだろう。試練フックにしたのかなダークゼロ。
Everyone working around survey camp though. It looks like he could pull that way, but we do see the pull back towards Skyhook sometimes. So it's an interesting zone. I kind of want to see where the traffic goes, where everyone hedges their bet a little bit here because it's one of those can go either way, and there doesn't seem to be a clear kind of defined.
調査キャンプめっちゃ集まってるね。
Yeah, and it does tend to be a bit. I mean, I think. Clear to a lot of these pros where the circle is ultimately going to end. So you may see some teams try to move a little quicker just to get into those zones, feeling a little bit more
この移動きつそう。いや偉いな。多頭体育な裏から。別パーティーっぽいなこれも。
Of some long-range pressure, PLP, Arcology, and Oblivion taking the trailer to the other side of them. Native as well, holding the trailer opposite. So very congested in this camp.
Yeah, looks everyone wants to be in survey camp at the moment by the looks of things. FaZe, we mentioned how they decided not to hard contest, just split the loot and continue on their path. TSM are already making their way on their rotation as well, and just looking at what they're trying to do, you get the feeling maybe they're looking to head towards Overlook, get a bit of ring console information.
法廷ウィンガー持ってるぞ。CEO ウィンガー持ってます。
Looks like there's no crafter available over there at the moment, so this is an interesting route for them to take. It looks like the long route round towards Climatizer and maybe taking the height of Epicenter to try and fight their way in. They know this is a tough zone for them to get into, right, from Siphon, so they're going to have some decisions to make.
And I think just limiting the teams that are going to be coming in, trying to pressure them from behind so they can play forward with the fuse, like you had mentioned, them picking up, opting away from the conduit. That offensive pressure and just pressure in general for teams who are already maybe in a better spot than you, but towards late game start to run out of grenades, start to run out of resources to fend off something like a fuse knuckle cluster again and again and again. There's going to be opportunities, I think, for TSM to siege, and so maybe that's why they're deciding let's just keep things in front of us. But of course, they will run in up to a fighting team, drop in gaming. We've been fighting at the very start of every single match if they continue to go so, and of course,
ダークゼロバンガロールブラハコンジット。バンガブラハコンジット。
Take a look with Sweet on the Rampage, a weapon I love. You know, I love it, Mark.
It's true. You are a Rampage salesman.
That's right. That's right.
However, I'm not buying. That's what I'm saying at the moment. Okay, the budget's not quite there at the moment.
All right.
Complexity still trying to hold down this train tunnel at the moment. Interesting to see that there was a Bloodhound in the lobby, and it is going to be Dark Zero that we saw. They're going to be able to hit the survey beacon, which is going to give them not just information on where the zone is going to be going because of the fact they can see where all the traffic is piled up, but maybe if there's any isolated fights that they can take on the outside of the zone using that Bloodhound to be the fragger, to do that entry damage on with Jim Burton, of course, playing that legend. So interesting decision to run the Bloodhound here. Obviously counteracts that Bangalore like we mentioned a little bit earlier as well, but LG, they're looted. They're looking good coming in from trials.
一番来たコンプレックス T が取ってるポジションか。TSM は多分 B コン読むために展望で B コン読んでからムーブするって感じか。
Those aren't competitive maps that we tend to see. Everyone knows in Apex you can get into a bad spot, not really have anywhere to turn. However, comparing that to what Stormpoint can do in terms of getting caught out, you can be caught out so badly on Stormpoint that you might as well just walk away.
わあ、裏切った。さあ、裏切りアンチ、いつもの。ワールドエッジ、大裏切りアンチ。LG によりますね。これマジで読めないよね。みんな調整キャンプで読んでるから。こうなると、後から入ってくるチームが楽。逆にこのカウントダウンがマジすっからかんだもんな。カウントダウン方面すっからかんや。すごいとこ取ってる。まあのポジションでいわばランパーって抑えてんだけど耐えれんのそれ耐えれんのかこれランパですごいなこれ耐えきれんのかな耐えきれんのかこれバリケード角度すごいけど
I double checked once again with my directions to make sure they were correct this time around. Towards where, surprise, surprise, Elevate Gaming find themselves. So all these teams are in survey camp.
ESMI Epicenter.
Having to leave, having to move. One team who is going to be safe in zone, who's kind of playing the exit of the train tunnel to the north, is going to be Dark Zero as well. LG, they've taken the Volt tunnel. They're going to be safe as well. TSM though, they're the ones with the hardest rotate here of our big hitters so far in this lobby. They have to move all the way from epicenter through the traffic, down from the height, down to the low ground, the train station, to try and fight their way into zone.
Just an over look at epicenter.
確かにヤギだな。
The positioning of TSM, sometimes a very dangerous spot to play, but they do have a gravity lift that can get them up top, maybe buy them a bit of respite if things go wrong. But you can't always plan to go wrong. In fact, this moment right here, there's a ton of
ジェンバーテンブラッドタウンド一番強いやつやん。
It's going to move, but it's going to close so much due to the fact that we've pulled all the way north.
ジェンバーテンが一番火力出すやつや。
But that's about it before they're probably going to have to move. They're praying that thing comes their way. Meanwhile, Zach Mazer and LG in the midst of a tangle, one below and one above inside the building. Let's see who gets the edge.
そう LG の同居。エレベートもこつ。
So both teams are going to be able to reset here, even though a couple of knocks were traded. No one was in a position to finish them, so we are going to see the continuation of this fight. Elevate control the inside, which is always going to be better because you could be the team looking out. Underneath is so vulnerable unless you have a legend that can eat up grenades like Watson with that interception pylon. You're just kind of waiting for damage to be done because you
LG が一番ど真ん中の真下に入ってきた。ちょっとカウントダウン方面も割と人多くなってきたね。みんなアンチ読んで第3リング。このアルティメットちょっとさらそう。カタリストアルティメット。
Impressive pros in their career so far. Together, not putting it on the board the way that they would like. Could this game be a change? They're going to have to get through this very contested choke mark. And Optic Gaming, another team who high expectations haven't really shown up today. They need to get through it as well.
They do have a great position though, Optic Gaming. They're trying to hold DNO out now.
オプティックは守る側。
And with a little bit of a spray coming in here from Noct as well, they're going to keep chipping away and keep trying to gatekeep them on the outside of this zone. This is a big opportunity for Optic Gaming. However, keep your eyes on the top right side of your screen. There are
でもこれ TSM もう1回チャンピオンだったらあれか。3回チャンピオンだったらボーナスポイント入るから、これで TSM チャンピオンだったら TSM あれか、ボーナスポイントでポイント増えるんか。何ポイント増えるんだろう、ボーナスポイント。 5ポイントとかかな。何ポイント増えるか情報あった？誰か情報知ってる人。ダークゼロなんか良さそう。ダークゼロ普通に良さそう。ナンパチームをナンパクレーム持ってるぞ。なんでこのポジションで4発使ってるんや。もったいない。もう4発使ってるよ。plan now that they've seen the zone is pulling away. One team is making an early move to the other side of the zone smartly as well. Is going to be complexity. Complexity do manage to hit the balloon inside of the train tracks and get all the way across to the other side. And look at the kill feed now. That's what you're going to see. This lobby is going to get cut in half as everyone has to leave survey camp.
Yeah, and you know, it's exactly it. That is exactly what happened. They called survey camp. At least 5-6 teams called it. Probably more of the lobby called it.
ダークゼロはキルポイント取った。タウンチャンピオンでプレイスメント1。あんまもらえないな。思った以上にもらえなかったわ。まあ圧倒的なっちゃがダメなのかな。さあ実行。いやーこれは苦しい。いやーこれ割り切れない。いやーこれ99のナーフ効いてます。99のナーフ効いてましたね今の完全に。99ナーフ前だったらホライゾンアルティメット壊ったでしょう。あやばい春が。お、こっちじゃね？しかも金のガツ。詰めてくる？お、詰めてくるんだ。結構車線やばそうだけどな。片壁取ってそのまま取り切っちゃうって感じか。さすがに TSM これはきついな。このマッチはダークゼロか？レップスフィーズおじさん。
Maintaining not only an advantage in terms of a fight, but also just fighting in general. They're deadly.
They're calling him over here, and I'm wondering if Reps is thinking, hey, I could ult this. I could ult this and really cause some problems because he knows both players are going to be pretty close to that respawn beacon. Maybe he's thinking about doing it late so that he can kind of escape and hold phase up. But Snipedown is going to be back in the game, and we've talked about how the respawns are very different this season than previously. You come back in with shields, you come back in with
ポジションがいいよ。めっちゃポイント出そう。チャンスだ。ランパートチームどうするんだ？まだ入ってんのかな？まだ入ってんのかこのアンチは。ランパーチームで結構ポイント持ってるよ。4キルしてるランパーチーム。いいね、キルポ拾えてるね。
The only one we've seen all day long, showing exactly what this legend can do and what legends can do in general when they're given their prime positions, their prime circumstances to be successful. And this is exactly how you want to use a Rampart, to hold space and to dominate from it.
Well, TSM will be eliminated. It's back to back to back for them. They cannot recreate what they did at Champs. DNO are also going to be eliminated. That long-standing battle that we saw.
あ、嫌いた。さあ、オプティックもう1枚。めっちゃキル拾えるやん、ここ。めっちゃキル拾えてる。こっち側にアンチ追ってくれたから。 すげえキル拾えるじゃん。いやー、起こせないかな。起こせないな。ダークゼロこれ勝ちか。ダークゼロこれ残ってんじゃね。やばい。ダークゼロとこれもしかしてダークゼロ TSM が圧倒的で終わっちまうか。また LG を抜ける。なんかいつもスイートたまないな。スイートのムーブいつもなんか物資少なくなってるイメージあるわ。打ってくる。上ファイトしきれって言ってるかな。グロい。すごいすごいすごい。あ、でもエレブエイト偉いね。エレブエイトめっちゃ残ってる。エレブエイトも悪くないよ。3部隊。エレブエイトもだって、あれエレブエイトじゃなかったっけ。どこあったっけ。あ、ダークゼロがこれはそうだよね。ザックたち総合3位だよね。いやー、さすがに厳しいか。ハンディングビースト。さあもうこうなるとさすがにダークゼロこれ1位になるかな。さすがにフェイズ VS ダークゼロ。うわ偉い。頭上と抑えく。やばいゼロが危ない。うわ返す。いやでもサイクスと最強パッド2人がいる。世界最強パッド2人いる。でもう TSM とダークゼロしか勝たないよこのゲーム。この2チームだけやん。もうゼロと春だけしか勝たないやんこのゲーム。ダークゼロと TSM でじゃんけんするか。ダークゼロと TSM でじゃんけんしよう。もうじゃんけんして勝ったら世界優勝。賞金1億円。強すぎるな。これでさすがに1位だったかな。ダークゼロめっちゃ抜けた。70ポイント。TSM と15ポイント差。キルポやば。キルポがマジでずっと高い。ダークゼロキルポ高すぎるなマジで。ダークゼロのすげえな。あでもエレブエイトも偉いんだよな。43ポイントめっちゃ張り付いてる。頑張ってる。チャンピオンは取ってないけどめっちゃ点数的には追いついてるな。この3チーム以外マジでなんかこの3チーム以外本当になんか同じぐらい割と1チャンピオンどうにかなりそう。28から3。まあどうにかなりそうだね。ダークゼロ TSM エレブエイトがもうほぼ1位2位3位か。But this could be it. Elevate Gaming too, you're right, I was surprised, but when you look at the way that most teams are used to fighting within smoke right now, it's rare that all three teams have that level of
the ability to fight you so clearly without digi threats on them. It can happen there, but I think there maybe was, oh man, we're fighting a bloodhound now. This means that we have got to take the pace to a different
ゼロチャンピオン取ってるのにブチ切れてないかな。なんだっけゼロ。自分の俺チャンピオン取ったのに俺下手すぎだろみたいな感じで切れてたやつね。チャンピオン取ったのに切れるというようわかんない。チャンピオン取って喜ぶんじゃなくて切れるっていうとんでもない切れ毛があるけどね。
on World's Edge. I'm sure they will bounce back from that. PLP, I'd like to see what they've done. A 0 this time around, and obviously complexity. They were in the mix, a top 2 finish in game 1, 13th here, but still 4 kills, showing Mark that they're willing to fight and they're feeling pretty good in terms of their at least contests.
Yeah, the contest looked pretty comfortable for complexity, to be honest with you, but apart from that, not really too much to talk about. They forced their way into the top 10, but I think that was just from the long-term position that they did have. It was the next fight where they really didn't contribute enough to force their way towards that end game. TSM had a little bit of a rough game there, a very tough rotate for them. Decided to go from the side of Epi, which was a little bit of a surprise, but also you can understand it coming down from that height. Maybe they thought it was going to pull back towards where those rocks were a little bit more, but I mean, TSM, they're not going to win every game of Apex Legends. It's a fact. You know, you do still have bad games, even though they won 2 back-to-back.
I mean, I just want to bring up again TSM Dark Zero. We've seen that back and forth last year. We see it today. It's just so much fun to watch on North America when you have 2 great fighters going at, and it really reminds me of a little bit of Messi and Ronaldo, you know, for our football fans out there. Just 2 greats, people, obviously different types of accolades at different times, but you can tell the talent is there to be able to win it all at any given moment. Talk to me just a little bit about, you know, not only just
確かに崖裏ランパどうなったんだ。崖裏ランパどうなったんだ。そういえばあいつはどこで死んだんだ。
How well Sykes is just meshing into this squad.
Well, first of all, I just need to say that between Messi and Ronaldo is completely incomparable, and Messi is a far superior football player. But anyway, Dark Zero, let's take a look at what they did in that game, because I think, you know, you're talking about synergy, you're talking about teams coming together, and I love the way that Sykes is playing on this team, by the way. I think that Sykes plays best as almost a secondary slayer, and I think he steps in perfectly, right? He can capitalize on damage that Jem Burton does. Jem Burton goes in, and a lot of the time he will be an instigator in fights, alongside Zero, who can get a little bit of damage down, and then with the movement he has on MNK, can
あそこはね、エペギャングみたいなとこだったね。エペギャング。何位だったんだろう。いつの間に死んだ？あ、6位で死んでるわ。キルポイント結構取ってる。8キル。エペギャング。でも全然拾えてないな、マジで。今の試合で11ポイントで、まあ10ポイント、もともと10ポイントか。めっちゃ上がってきたな。1試合でやっぱ変わるな。エレブ8のあれか、ごちゃごちゃで落ちちゃったか。
Maybe something more alignment in terms of the way that this is fitting right now, in terms of the goals without needing to really speak them. Obviously, everyone wants to win, but there's just different paces, different decisions. How do you practice? How do you think about the game? Maybe this is just something that meshes on a lot of different levels for Dark Zero, but we will find out very, very soon if they can keep this up. TSM don't win. They don't go back to back to back. It's Dark Zero's turn to claim the limelight. When we come back, 2 more games to close out day 1 of year 4. We'll see you in a sec.
なんか落ちてたのかな最後。棒立ちだったね。ゲーム固まったか？これでダークゼロが TSM に50ポイント差つけるとプレイスメントが取れるけど、さすがに無理か。50ポイント差は無理だな。50ポイント差はさすがに厳しそう。 エーペックスって普段からあえてサブ入れて練習しないですよね。まあエーペックスはもう3人でやるゲームだからな、ほぼ。
Welcome back, everybody. We got 2 more games to go, and it's going to be Gaskin and myself to take you through those 2 games of World's Edge. A little bit of a change-up with Dog Zero coming out on top, Dan. And I need to get your opinion. Messi or Ronaldo? Right now, let's start the Twitch chat off again. Who are you picking, and why?
Messi every day of the week.
Thank you. That's all I needed. You don't need to give me a reason because I know you're a smart man. TSM or Dark Zero? Oh, I'll wait for that one. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus that early. I'm sure there'll be some people in the chat who'll be coming after you otherwise. But what did you take away from that last game? Because it looked very impressive from Dark Zero.
Yeah, I think Dark Zero have clearly got a formula that works here, right? Zero has been looking to find a squad that will be able to put his plan into action, and it very much worked there in match number 4. More of the same. The consistency has been incredible from Dark Zero. They're the most consistent team now after having the 4 matches with TSM falling a little bit earlier. And
APEX のサブは実質プロリの権利悪用みたいなとこある。違反してるわけじゃないから。
Going to give the indication that is going to be the case, and now I want to see what happens over here at Geyser as well, because FaZe, it was a strategy that we saw last time down. They kind of went for the halfway route and looted their way back, didn't take the hard contest, and decided
FaZe は現状の3位。
get enough loot from these buildings to continue their game.
Yeah, FaZe dropping in the middle, taking these kind of circular buildings, whereas dropping gaming, dropping on the edge, and then
でも3位だから嫌だろうな、初動ファイト。初動で当たると。やめないね、初動ファイト。
And he ain't going to miss too many shots with it. He's got an R9 as well, but he's got to be careful because that door is causing problems. He's going to be forced to queue, but he's not going to connect.
がっつりどうか？
He's going to be able to get his teammates queued now as he's had to use it.
いやー、当たりそうだった。うまい。モンスーン、返した。味方は返してる。さすがにそれ当たったらもう絶望やろ。当たった。Oh my god!
Doesn't matter if it was on the kneecaps, on the toes, but you take it.
It was in the head. It was 165. Ow.
Ow.
That's like getting a cast iron pan to the back of the head.
That's how much a frying pan would do.
We just bought a cast iron pan. By the way, that's the only reason I would ever talk about that. So yeah, it's just in front of my mind.
Well, stakes on you.
Yeah. Come around.
You can see there the kill leaders of the day, by the way, all 3 members of Dark Zero featuring in the top. Not really surprised.
確かに完結で初動ファイターマジでやばいな。キルリーダー、ゼロ、サイクス、ジェンバーテン、バーハルスト、ザップ、レップス、インペラハル。キルリーダーが TSM ダークゼロ。マジで完結戦初動ファイターマジしょうもないな。完結戦と調査キャンプ初動ファイトマジしょうもなすぎるよな。初動ファイトして取りたいランドマークじゃないしな。完結戦調査キャンプにだったらビーコン開かないしな。全然強いと思わないぞ。現状のランドマークで一番弱いんじゃないかと思っちゃう。調査キャンプに至っては完結戦もまあ C ぐらいだからね。
Hitting the evac is going to be TSM, who are working their way into Monument, where it's looking like teams are starting to stack up here. This could be our end game.
Yeah, I think everyone is banking on Monument here, and TSM already landing and having to take a fight.
おっと TSM やばいか？
Able to commit to it, and they're being shot by more than just one team, and this is not fun for them at all. Dark Veil
モニュメント取ってるチームがいる。オブリビオン、バルダ、バルバンガ、ワトソン。
To heal up, and maybe TSM will think about pushing this again in a few moments' time. But it's going to be a pretty tough push for them if they do just try and decide to do so, because of the fact that it's a narrow doorway to walk through. And I think Oblivion want to try and force them away. I'd like to see them be a little bit aggressive here.
お、クレーバー落ちた。ハルが落ちた。マザロで歩けなそう。あ
CSM down to just a 2 now, and who else? It's Zainu with the Kraber as well from distance, being able to finish off that gap.
車線がやばい。
TSM at the moment are probably thinking this isn't a very fun game, is it? Just let us survive. And now they've got decisions to make. Do they go for the banner? Do they try and get in a position to get Hull back in the game? Like
うわ、なんか見えてる。やばい。
I was holding my breath to make sure that the Kraber reticle didn't wobble for Zainu there, because you could see he was lining it up.
頭が見えないから球もったいないね。打てないわ。なんでそれWhat? なんでそれ打ってさ、さっきやってたねえのWhat? だこれなんでなんで今の打ってさ、TSM の今のやつ打たねえのよ。なんでそこ打つ
difficult for any teams to even consider pushing them. They know where those bullets are coming from. They will have heard that Kraber being fired in such a distinctive audio.
わけわかめなんだが
So PLP are going to be safe up here for quite some time.
Yeah, a great circle pull for them and the position they found themselves in.
理解不能。
Everyone's going to have to head to Monument. There is still places to play here, or space to play, either way it works. A lot of room on the southwest side, and even though it's not going to be a guaranteed position for you in the late game, it is somewhere you can survive if you are rotating.
クレーバーの打ち方雑すぎだろ。もうこれ7発撃ってるぞ。7発。
So there's kind of checkpoint areas where teams can position themselves temporarily, but then what is the bigger picture? How do you win this game? That's what everyone's thinking at the moment. When you're in this kind of stage, everyone's like, where do we need to go to win? No one's really committing to fights and committing to just second place just yet.
なんだバス中戦闘 めちゃくちゃ中央をファイトすんな。
Just has to be careful here. He was maybe hoping he could get a little cheeky res off, but it's not going to happen. There's too many teams with eyes on. And it's just about survival here.
パットのクレーバーどうなのかって、パットのクレーバーまあどうだろうね、わかんねえ。まあでもなんかあんまり大切にしないクレーバーを打つよね。クレーバーの使い方雑だよね、パットの人たちって。そこは思うわ。球の管理がちょっと下手くそかな。当たる当たらないか問題置いといて。それはキーマウの方がクレーバー当たるんだからしょうがないけど。打ち方がちょっと雑だ。さっきのキーマだったら 100% 打たないね。
Shall we say the comfort of home where they did land and trying to rotate how they would want to had they not been contested.
I actually really like this phase roster, and the more that I see them play, the more that I think they can be a real threat coming into this season. I've always had a lot of respect for Snipedown and his ability, but we've got to talk about Pandas and Zero and what they've been able to do previously on other teams and what they add actually to
過去の結果見当たってたら、宮家がレルさんの後輩だった。デトネーターのあれでしょ？後輩っていうか、俺がいた時いなかったんじゃないかな。俺がデトネーターやめてから入ったんじゃないかな。そうだね、さっきのチームは、さっきのチーム全員パッドだから関係ないよな、誰が持っても。ボニー、ブレックス、ザイニュー、誰が持ってもパッドだから。さあ、オキシジン。うわー、やるね。反対に。
As that first knock is not going to be capitalized on as yet. As we see now, the swing coming in. The shots from Reeds again are going to be pretty good, and surely this is going to be a clean wipe. No one should really.
しっかり取るね。漁夫もないか、さすがにこのポジションは。
GKS will be eliminated. It's our second squad to go down. And once again, Dan, we have a slow burner of a game where we are seeing everybody realize, even in week one, how important every single game is here to make sure that when the standings are done at the end of the season, you have as many points as you could have racked up.
Yeah, I mean, there was a period of time during ALGS where you would just get points for where you finished in the overall standings, but now it's about your accumulated points of where you've placed, of where you've got kills that go into the overall standings as well. So it's not about trying to play catch up.
アンチが
4, 5, and 6. Instead, it's about trying to put as
Dark
much
Zero?
on the board in general, and that's why we still will see teams playing it slow, playing their game, not doing anything crazy, not taking too many risks, even in these latter matches. Now, there was a short period where Skirt were also in landslide looking at Oxygen, but that fight finished too quickly, so they moved back north.
レールさんが思う最強パッド誰ですか？ジェンバーテンやろ。そんなん一択やん。ジェンバーテン以外いないだろ。ゲンちゃん以外マジでいないよ。最強パッドは。
Yeah, I wonder if TSM's a 1 or a 2. It might be stacked up on top of each other. But one team who was a 1, who has
TSM を寄ったが2人じゃねもうこれ。
they're over at Geyser at the moment. They're going to have to work pretty hard to get back into that zone though. They should have some crafting available.
寄ったが
Over at Geyser, you would think maybe to get the right amount of meds to
フェイズってこのメンバーだと誰が IGL ですか？フェイズはポニーやね。フェイズこっちか。フェイズこれパンダーズじゃないかな。ゼラトリッキーかな。確かにフェイズ誰だろう。パンダーズっぽいけどねこれは。このメンバーあったら。
How a team is going to be led because they are going to have to work their way through the majority of the lobby here if they want to be successful. It's not an easy move for them to make, and with 50 seconds
多分スナイパー IGL しないからパンダーズかゼラトリッキーだと思うけどな。手前から入る。オープティックがいる。終わった。ドカチンだー。フェイズドカチンだー。完全にドカチンだったな。
But that's kind of exactly what you were talking about. Like, there was questions made, no really solid decision. It was like, I think there's only bridge that's available for them, and sadly, bridge wasn't available for them, and they will go down here as our team's starting to lose members. By the way, confirmation TSM are still a 2. I did double check that one, so apologies there. But
TSM これチャンスないか？1枚取ってる。
Even as a 2, Verholst is still able to pick up kills in the moment. Complexity losing a couple of players.
Dark Zero inside of Monument though, and once again somehow they've just managed to work their way into a pretty central position, taking the inside of Monument. By the way, developers, I really want to see ALGS like trophy room added here. I'm just saying, just an idea. Don't worry about it. It's a free one. You can have it. You can take it away. But it was Optic who were holding down.
TSM のエヴァンかと思った。エヴァンもまあめちゃくちゃいいプレイヤーだね。まあだけどジェンバーテンのやっぱ昔からの安定感とかもずっと強いからな。ずっと最強だからって思うと一番強いんじゃないかなって思っちゃうけどね。ダークゼロポイント伸ばしすぎじゃね。キルポンめっちゃ取ってるだろ。ああしかもめっちゃいいとこ来た。結局ダークゼロやっぱゼロなのかゼロかハルなのか。ちゃんとカタリストのスパイクトリップあって弱い。本日のアビリティで回復ちょっと入れ違いだったけどそれにここはしっかりとオキシジェン。ああトイレで締められてるやばいトイレで締められてる。トイレでいじめられてるよ。なんかいじめられ系の映画を見た気分だ。Ape gang outside of the circle at the moment, but they are going to be approaching from the southeast. Maybe they can find something to work with.
Yeah, should be able to just sneak their way across the bridge here. They won't be safe on the bridge, but if they can slide in late and maybe take advantage and third party something, there is a play to be made. PLP who have the height of epicenter. Now they're in the position that TSM were in early game.
TSM さすがに終わったか。あ、終わったね。さすがに潰された。
Now that you're seeing with Monument in comparison to previous World's Edge iterations is there's playable space, but it feels like there's so many angles that you can get shot out from instead of just being, you know, cohabiting some of these buildings where you can have 3 or 4 teams stacked up on each other.
Yeah, you're so vulnerable from different areas that you never really truly feel safe, especially when there's Krabers and Bocheks in the lobby that can just pick you off in a couple of bullets. So you do have to be careful, and that's where some of the legends that give you a little bit of cover will come into play here. But now we'll see whether PLP, how they want to approach this next.
さあこの後。
But for now, they're more than happy to reside in this current area.
さあダークゼロ伸ばすチャンスである。まだ。
Optic can pick up some of those skills as well. You saw skill cakes and Optic, speaking of which, they're going to be on that edge of the.
オプティック一番いい位置だね。これマジでこのアンチ、俺がこのマップ改変始まった最初のアンチなんだけど、マップ改変始まって初めて最終アンチ経験した時の最終アンチを経験した時のアンチだこれ。
PLP who have looked very confident in their fights all day. Only on 14 points at the moment, in 12th position overall, but still with 2 games left, they could certainly hurdle up the leaderboards in the kill feed.
俺のあれが邪魔してる。
Action and temper will fall. Now we're down to just 10, but it looks like LG, even though they pushed that one, they're now being griefed by another squad.
俺のスポンサーバナナが邪魔してるそうですね。すいません。失礼しました。
Looks like they're going to be trying to move into a position, but dropping down might have been the worst decision, as now you'll find a team walking around that corner is going to take them down, and it's Dark Zero who again picked the perfect moment to pounce on a team who was.
LG もちょっと落ちてきたな。エレベートのポイントバグってね、まあ毎回。まあ3ポイント計算なんだけど、どういうこと？エレベートのポイントが一生バグってる気がする。
Dark Veils have started to go down just to give a little bit of extra coverage to those teams who have to make a move. As Skirt are going to be on top of this railway, but you know you're very vulnerable up here. But as long as you can be big, as long as you can output a good amount of damage, you can make it work.
Sykes under pressure. Zero trying to back him up. Elevate who have had to force their way forward. Well,
ダークゼロがこれ2人。さすがにこれは苦しい。タイクスゼロ。いやある？なんかワンチャンある？火力出しすぎ問題？ポジタルティメットワンチャンある。いやきついか？なんか一人落としてる。セノックス落としてる。さすがにね。でも俺8キルしてるぞダークゼロ。8キル6位。これでも11ポイントあるもんな。
And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Optic got a beacon throughout the entirety of Storm Point, and perhaps that was one of the reasons why we didn't really see much success from them, but maybe it's going to be a little bit better on World's Edge.
この DIG とオプティックぶつかってしまいそうだから、アルブラリーチャンスない？
Listen, if they bang ult us, I'm gonna insta bang ult back. Okay, I have wall. You have all right skills? They're getting shot by a lot of people, yeah. I think they got knocked. They might have, yes. Did they have a gen shoot a smoke at if you have to?
右チームが動くの早いから右チームを。
I'm gonna kill him. He died. Team is hard focusing. There's 2 guys under. There's 2 guys under. Left is hard focusing. They're staring. They have Kraber dropped. I have a smoke down. They have Kraber though. I shit on them. They wall. Alright. We can play off their wall. I'm peeking it. Almost cracked the top. I'm killing Cax. Selling. Last guy hit 50 blue. 50 blue. I'm batting. Fucking ults.
コンジットウルタがきつい。
Breaking it. They're on the wall. Yeah. Batting. It's last guy. All that. Please though. You should maybe wall this. Maybe wall the right.
いやいいねオプティック VC めっちゃなんか綺麗だ。
Yes.
なんか VC のあれが冷静だ。全然なんか声があれだね。冷静だマジで。そんななんか
They just have to drop into each other. I'm telling. I might just is. Where's the other team? Okay, they're on the height. They're fighting. They're fighting. Queuing up. Yeah, they're there. 150 dead. On our right. On our close right. Careful. Yeah, careful. Playing left.
あ、割り切りきた。オプティック。これはさすがにオプティックも終わった。
On you guys. Last guy's one. Last guy's one. Get second. We got second. Okay. Nice.
まあまあこれはしょうがないね。オプティックマジで冷静だな。マジ荒げないね。まあ最後しょうがないね。どっち行くかはもう上のチーム次第だったから、アルブラレリーの何位になるかは、1位になるか2位になるかはアルブラレリーの動き次第だったから、オプティックはしょうがなかった。まあ勝ちもあったし負けもあったし、どっちもあったな。
Far better than their performances on Storm Point earlier today.
Yeah, should push them at least up towards the top half of the leaderboards, which is a big difference, right? We talk about some of the weeks that you look back on.
確かに肩壁がちょっと早かったな。肩壁張り付きで多分右がいると思ったのかな。肩壁持ってなかったね。あれ使わなかったら多分あったね。肩壁ちょっと先使っちゃったね。あれオプティック側。
Flat again, a team who we haven't mentioned yet. They get their first win of the day here, and a strong performance from them to show a little bit of resilience in that final circle and good decision making when the pressure was on.
Yeah, good decision making, and you say all the time hitting their shots as well in those final moments. We can see teams get those positions and make good decisions, but you have to follow through with the damage afterwards, and they were able to do exactly that. Yes, help from the other team and Albreleli dropping in where he did, but you still have to convert those games and take those chances when they're presented to you.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive stuff. This is how things look after that game. Of course, Flat on top. And you can see 12 placement points, 8 kills, 20 points total for them. So very, very strong game. And we mentioned how Optic felt like they had a strong one as well. They had AKP to go along that side, that second place. 17 overall for them. Dark Zero a little bit further down with placements, but 9 kills down. 12 points for them again. They will be extending their lead at the top.
Yeah, really just putting down and laying down the points at the moment. 12 is a huge game considering they finished in 6th place, and that's thanks to Sykes at times just being able to be.
よし、これでポイントがダークゼロ82ポイント、TSM2 の57ポイント。でも全然 TSM の下がマジで平坦すぎて TSM もうずっと2位だね。まあダークゼロさすがにこれ1位だな。TSM は2位になるかどうかの問題やね。ここから2位になれるようにポイント上げないといけない。次でエレブレーターが上がってくる可能性もあるから、エレブレーターをどうにか倒さないといけない。マジで下本当に平坦すぎるな。34から本当に10位で25ポイントだもんな。かなり平坦やね。昨日の APAC ノースを見るとAPAC ノース50ポイント台が3チームと、まあ、昨日もちょっと晴れたって感じなんかな。でもそれでも上位勢は50ポイントぐらいだけど、やっぱ平均点ちょっと低めだな。ダークゼロが取りすぎてるから。まあダークゼロはとりあえず1位だね。今日はもうさすがに1位。 TSM が20キルとかしない限りは。
Well, one team who, of course, we've got to talk about is going to be Flat, the winners of our previous game. Even though we had a big points total coming in from Dark Zero, these two teams we see on our screen were very much involved in that final fight. First place and second place, 12 placement points and 9 respectively, as you would imagine. And not much
なんか世界地図。日本ちっちゃー。日本ちっちゃー。めちゃくちゃちっちゃい。
flat over Optic was the fact they were able to win that last fight and get that extra little bit of damage. And just a comparison of Nano and Skittlecakes as well. Very different story, but Skittlecakes for me is always one of these players that you can rely on to put the damage. But Nano with 2k damage, really stepping up for flat on the Bangalore and making sure that they are making themselves as big as possible, outputting damage like that.
I've got to say, I do like the logo, but as we all know, the Earth is a cube. Anyway, moving you through to the totals. It's a joke by everyone, don't be weird. Dark Zero up on top, 82 points, and they are establishing a lead, Dan. Now, well, get excited, everyone.
Don't you say it.
There might, I'm not going to say it until the end of the show, all right? I'm just saying, potential bonus points, they win the next game.
I don't know, if they win by more than 50 points, they will be awarded with an extra bonus point.
Potential? Potential?
You know, TSM would have to fall early again, which it has happened. World's Edge hasn't really gone the way for Storm Point for them. But most importantly, Dark Zero have 82 points, Mark.
確かにそういうことか。フラットって確かにそういうことね。地球が平たい。地球は平面だったか。
I think it's a great performance from them, a huge amount of points, and I think as well, with all these team changes that have gone down, no one really knows how it's going to work.
地球平面説の方たちでしたが、フラットの方。地球は平たかったようです。
What's coming up? We've got one more game to get done, and we're going to go for a quick break before we get there. We've got one more game on World's Edge. When we get back, we're going to bring it to your eyes.
フラットアースっていうらしいですね。フラットアースっていう名前なんだ。強ってか。わかりやすすぎる、さすがに。全然クイズになってんねえわ。お、LG と今回溶岩側もシャドウファイトしたのか。アルブラのチームかな。LG も5位だからあんまりやりたくないだろうな。ああ、デジ出た。
And when these lobbies happen, you have to make the most of it. You have to find points where they're available to you. And I will say LG have done well with that. Even with bad situations, they've been able to force rotates to put them in better situations for those final circles. And it was looking a bit dicey against Skirt here over towards Lava Fisher. Elevate were also taking a look at it, but LG able to come out healthy and well. Now,
パンチが TSM 側に寄ってますか。
And we're heading down there between Lava Siphon and Geyser. Might be Hilltop on the house is where our finish could be. And FaZe have positioned themselves very close.
TSM はどこ行くんだ。完結方向。亀さんか。ああ、亀さんか。やっぱ亀ハウスか。このアンチだってやっぱここなんだよな。ディジェクトもここ取るしな。ディジェクトもここ取るからな。やっぱここなんだな。あ、やばい。どうだ、ちょっとこれ。春一人で守ってる。一人で守った。別に降りだって分かったら春の方冷たくなりくんな。やばい、レップツが。
in rotations here in apexlegends because not everyone is going to have beacon information, not everyone is going to have
そこ詰めないんだな。一人で分かれてるって。
You have to kind of look to the skies and see what's happening elsewhere, and sometimes you'll replicate that, sometimes you'll commit to what you think it's going to be, but a lot of teams moving further
入ってこれた。
maybe than they would usually.
Reps just about made it. I always feel like on the crosses when TSM make rotates, if one player goes down, it's Reps. I don't know why it is. I mean, he's got the best movement, right, on M&K, but it always seems like he's the one who gets focused. I kind of feel sorry for him. I don't know why. I've got a lot of sympathy for Reps and what he has to do for TSM and the fact that.
確かにラバサ当たって白白はちょっと弱いな。あまあ弱めだね TSM。
We talk about M&K, we talk about controller and the differences that they're available to you, but we know that Reps plays a vital part for TSM. But you're right, it does seem like...
To say, we've had Messi versus Ronaldo, let's not bring up M&K versus controller.
Yeah, that's a very different conversation which will spark outrage, I'm sure. But Elevate making their rotation through the tunnel. And it looks like they were able to get ahead of the likes of LG, the likes of Skirt. They didn't really press onto the third party, and instead, quite intelligently so, they move in and will start to make their rotation.
Yeah, I've been pretty impressed with the decisions from EA. I think one thing that maybe Zach Major as an IGL has been a little bit guilty of sometimes in the past is not taking that extra beat to think about the decision. And it seems like this time they're just taking that extra second sometimes just to make, is this the right play? Yeah, it is. Okay, let's commit to it. Instead of I'm going, everybody follow me. You know, I think that the communication's been pretty good, and you know, watching them go through the PLQ.
さあここから結構遠目だけどエレベートもポイント的には現状高かった気がする。3位かなまだ。何位なんだろうエレベート。なんかエレベートだけポイントバグってね毎回。ザック嫌われてる？ザックメイザー嫌われてる説。国戦
But the circle with it moving so far east here, everyone on this western side kind of has to move one of two ways. You have to go fast or slow. If there's any middle ground, you could be punished. So you need a clear direction of which way you want to move.
I think one thing to point out here is a comparison of something we talked about in the previous game where we were saying, hey, FaZe have a tough rotate here. They have to go through a lot of traffic. They had to go through Monument. And when we went to the listening and the decision-making process, it sounded a little bit like there was a lack of confidence on the call and who was going to be making it.
完結戦も結構いますね。ビッグモに寄り切るか、ビッグモの青バスに寄り切るか、それとも完結戦に寄ってくるか。TSM のヒューズサイドどうなのかって。TSM が強いから何も文句言えないけど、ヒューズって強いと思わないけどな俺はあんまり。中ムーブでヒューズ使う意味あんま分かってないんだよな俺。まあ肩パンがいるんだったらあと1なんでもいいと思うけど、ホラーヒューズカタリストでしょ。あんまりね分かってないんだよな。あー裏切ったー。フェイツもう RTH アンチョムだめよ。アンチョンだらバカらしい。アンチョンだらバカらしいよ。There's always the option of evac towers, and we have seen successful evac towers so far today. Speaking of the devil, Dark Zero are going to start evacing themselves closer towards zone. マットマギーと比較したどっち入れるか？それはもうヒューズだね。まあ、カタレスの壁割るとかそういう要因とかはありそうだけど、めちゃくちゃ刺さるかって言われたら微妙だけどね。ヒューズはねマジでねあんまりメリット分かってないんだよな俺も。しょうまらさんに聞いたらヒューズ大好きおじさんに。まあエバックローリングタワーでスキャンできて強いとかアサルトだからいいとかまあそういう点はあるけど、バンガロールよりか強いかと言われたらちょっと怪しいけどな。だってバンガとヒューズ比べたらバンガの方が強くねってなっちゃうから。移動できるしアサルトだしアルティメット強いし、だったらバンガホラーカタリストでよくねってなっちゃうんだよな。だからあんまり分かってない。 カタリストの壁割るにしても難しいね。ヒューズファンの方に。
with their final standings here is complexity. They'll be in a really good spot here. They have the Hill House, and this is a great spot to be holding for this zone.
Yeah, the POP's day started a little bit better than it ended, that's for sure. But complexity.
コンジットもいいんじゃない？まだ。
26 KP, no, 26 points. They haven't got 26 kills. Ignore that. Their overall points is 26. They're looking to try and improve that going into match number 6 here. And they should be able to do so from their position. There's definitely points that are available to them.
一生パチパチでイライラさせて判断にぶらせよ。イライラさせるため
But a few teams holding them out from Lava Siphon, and with the circle now moving back over to Siphon as well, ever so slightly.
まあ確かに最終円のスキャンがあるのはめっちゃ強いよね。カタリスト壁がめっちゃある分、それをメタれるのは強い。カタリスト壁をメタって最後スキャンできるのは強いけど、でも最後はね、カタリスト壁だってバックタワー残しておかないといけないっていうのもあるしな。バックタワーだからそこがちょっと微妙だと思うんだよな。絶対残さないといけないじゃん。バックタワー絶対残してそっからスタートだから。最後のヒューズマザロはそもそも俺の考え的にリソースをバックタワー使ってマザーロードを使うっていうそのリソース2つ使うのもったいないんじゃないかなって思っちゃう。そもそもね。まあでも TSM を使って勝ってるからまあ言うてもちゃんと理由あるんだろうけど、まあ確かにあとあれだね、ワトいないのもでかいか。 NA だったら NA ワトいないからその分回復とは削れるか。 NA だったらエーパックノースだったらワトソンたくさんいるからあんまり意味ないだろうけど、それはちょっとあるな。おーフェイズ、やはりフェイズさすがにフェイズ勝ちアンチか。さっき落ちたので保証入ります。エーペックス運営の忖度保証です。
between Dark Zero and Temper, but it looks like it's going to be the end for Temper. Dark Zero pressing their advantage now. They just need to be careful they don't lose anyone in this push. With Cloaked falling, this should just be a matter of wrapping it up and hoping no one pushes. But actually, I'm seeing on the map overhead, Eternal have used
3ポイント
just to pass by these teams and maybe taking Dark Zero's position. So Dark Zero, with their aggression, have now lost their spot on this choke, and Eternal are about to bring the fight to them.
Yeah, but look at the wingman. The wingman's been picked up, and I know it might seem like it's not too much because now the positions have been swapped around, but one headshot with that wingman's going to hit for 95, and trust me, it hurts. So one wingman is enough to take down two players.
ポニーの件あったから素直じ応援したい。なんかまた喧嘩したの、スナイプと本人。確かになんかあったよな。そういえば忘れたな。なんかあったな。何かあったような覚えあるけど。
Well, they were in Vault and they literally heard the damage and decided to take that chance and take that risk, but Dark Zero are pressing up and getting aggressive on them. Meanwhile, Optic Gaming down to just a 2, and they're playing a game of survival down on the low ground at the moment. This is always such a tough position to play because there's going to be so many eyes on from
ダークゼロワンチャン50ポイントあるか。どうだろうね。結構厳しそうであるけど。いやでもここ取ったらある。いやーダークゼロ普通に勝ちそう。サイクスがマイクが偉いんだよな。ちゃんと味方のあれ待って、はい、スキャンで全部分かってる。で最強パッドで後ろいない6キルゲットキルポイント高すぎ。ダークゼロワンチャンあるか。何ポイントだっけ今。やばいごめん。いやワンチャンあるな。ワンチャンあるな。30ポイントか。ワンチャンあるな。20ポイントぐらいか。いやワンチャンあるな。 TSM 次第だけど。
So they were just kind of hedging their bets and going off of what they had seen just from their original circle knowledge, yet still find themselves in a great spot.
have found themselves in a good spot as well. They're in the bar at the moment, and that building will be safe. As the zone starts to close as well, LG have moved through the choke, and they're kind of.
スナイプのいない間にスナイプ首にするムーブ。あ、そんなことあったんだ。グロいな。まあ、スナイプも結構立ってたもんな。なんかスナイプも離婚しなかったっけ？結構なんか私生活でもいろいろと起こったもんね。フェイズはスナイプのもんだからな。スナイプはフェイズの王だからな。神でしょ、フェイズの。甘かったね、逆にそれは。フェイズスナイプ離さないでしょ、もう。
Elsewhere, you saw on the southern side, there's about 5 or 6 teams all in the same area, all still on the edges of Lava Siphon at the moment, who are all going to have to move in. Ape Gang, Oxygen, Flash, Secret Formula, all just hunkered down and so close to one another, and Native also in that area too. So there's going to be a lot of action in the kill feed shortly as TSM send an evac tower to the skies, and well,
さあ TSM どうするか、ここから。さあここからどうするかだね。異様に入るか。側面。フェルバリケットで1回耐える。これやばい。まだ耐えれてる。クレーン上来てくれたから助かるね、まだ。クレーン上来たから全然耐えれそう。
TSM, but they're gonna heal up. As soon as this Dark Veil goes down, they are extremely vulnerable. So they do have to be careful. They're maybe just hoping that they don't have a sight line on them. And as you say, otherwise they can fight, but they're trying to make themselves big. They're very much puffing.
さあ TSM ポジションはいいけど上のチームが降りてきそう。それをどうするか。上のチームどう弾くかだね。うわ、上のチームあれだ。エイペックスギャング来た。エペギャング来た。来たぞー。頑張れランパーとランパローバ。なんだランパローバ。どうするんだろうこれ。お LG もでもよくね、今回スイート今回ありそうだな。ダークゼロまだ生きてるもしかして。
Dude over here, I'm gonna fuse like right here. I'm gonna fuse like right here.
You wanna cut off anyone that tries to come this way.
I'm gonna try to.
Use your thermites and shit.
30-30RE もう30-30持ってる。ダークゼロ全滅。さすがに50ポイントは使えなかったか。エレベート落ちた。これでもう TSM2 じゃね。ほぼ2位確定だな。エレベート落としたから自分たちの手でほぼ2位決定。あとは1位取れば1ポイントプラスだから、1位取れば 3回チャンピオン取れるから、1位取れるかどうかやね TSM。
Can they close that gap between themselves and Dark Zero with them now falling, but also put some big points on the board for the overall standings. Reeds in a tough spot between a rock and a rock.
ここ取ったらボーナスあるよ TSM。やばい、チャージライフル上からの。
Just heal up, and again we talked about the economy of meds here for TSM. That could be the one thing that hurts them, as well as maybe ammo. As you can see, that's starting to get burned through as well. As TSM are having a
やばい、最後グレーとかで落ちてきそう。
just to kind of deny them walking in, pick up some KP, but also keep their spot safe. But for now, it's working for them. But look at LG as well, Dan. LG once again into a position here to maybe capitalize on an end game. The story
オブリビジョン、オブリビオン。
good enough in those final moments. Is this going to be the game where it changes?
車線苦しそう。次のポジがないか。いや LG もあるな。LG も全然いい。やばい、上からやばい。お LG あるんじゃね。スイート来たか。復権のスイート。いけスイート取り行け。オクシン一人取り切った。いや LG 下取り切ったなこれで。でも情報分かってなさそう。下が切れたって。TSM 上とファイト。アークさました。 TSM。 あー TSM だこれは。アークスターマザロ TSM だ。3回チャンピオン取るか。ボーナスポイントある。しかも LG めっちゃ狭くしてる。いやでもまだ分かんない。やばい、あのラッパーとチームが。これ奥が行けば。奥が行かない。落ちちゃった。さあヘルバリケード。あ割り切ったか。さあスイート復活あるか。さあハルとスイート対決。ここはスイート。惜しい。最後ホライゾンルートでホライゾンリフトで反対側行ったワンチャンあったな。両側飛び越えたら TS もあったかもな。結果がダークゼロ TSM エレブエイト LG 最後上がってよかったね。最後でポイント18ポイント。最後取らなかった。マジ結構危なかったね。スイートが4位、オプティックが5位。結構なんかまともだったわ。ダークゼロ TSM エレブエイト LG オプティックフェイズ。結局でもう1位はダークゼロ90ポイント。2位は TSM って感じでしたね。まあ結局いつもですね。一面だ。順当でしたね。この後 A と C ありますか。いや A と C はない。今日は全部 A と B だけだよね。さすがに A と B だけだよね今日は。そうだね A と B だけ。 NA はね多分そうだね。 NA 毎週1週だけなんだよね。 NA はマジでこれいいインチキだよな。毎週1日だけだったな。インチキ NA。 エーパックノースとかは冷てなのに EMEA もEMEA もインチキやんけ。 EMEA インチキだろ。エーパックノース見てみろこれ。キチキチの Day5 で終わる。 Day5 できつきつなんだけどエーパックノースだけ。もうちょっとスケジュールどうにかならないか。まあ多分制作側のあれなんだろうけどね、日本に関しては。多分このキャスター陣、このプレイエイペックスに関してはキャスター陣あれだからな。家でやってるからあんまあれだけど、俺たち現地行かないといけないからな。それが多分いろいろとかかっちゃうんだろうね。ようわかんないけど。
few teams we mentioned at the top, guys. You know, TSM, DZ, obviously FaZe had a good game there. LG with their first win, which was big for Sweet. But in this first World's Edge game that Onset, you and I cast, there are a few teams that surprised me as well. E8, great positioning. Dark Zero, they
現地豪華らしい。ね、現地豪華らしいね。わかんないけど。まあ来週僕なんで。来週俺だけど、来週俺どこだったかな。A パックのどこ見るんだろう俺。Day2 の A と C か。A と C。あ、いいんじゃない？フナティックと、フナティックノーステップリドルリジェクトいいじゃん。A と C。俺は A と C なんで、来週の日曜日は僕この A と C を解説しますね。今日はもう終わりですか？今日はもう終わりだね。NA はこれで終了なんで、終わりですかね。ちょっと一回滝正見ていい？滝正見たいんだけど滝正マジでおもろいからちょっとマジでマジこれマジでおもろいんだよな滝正クソおもろいわマジで。これもう終わったかいいや。俺だっけこれか
飛んできてる一番左のやつ割れてると思う多分。どこで切らないよな。
バルめちろバルやったわバカだろこいつ。俺の上めちろニコ30俺 F30
帰ってくる
バカだろ。
これ見て俺 F30 で今やってる。めっちゃ近い
何どういうこと？
バカだろこいつおもろすぎだろ。
人やった。
あ待ってよ。
もう一人やってる。あと1枚のやつ。こっち来れる？
んだよこれ。わかんないこれ一人だけ。あと1枚これバルチリ。
あと1人。
あそう背の手側はあと1人。背の手側があと1人。知らない。頑張れよ。
トガよ。
バンドのやつ
あもうイライラする誰だよバル使って突ってきるバカチームは。何ほだろマジでもう本当にもう
人としてのエイムは絶対俺の方がいいから。この時間でここいないわけないじゃん。
おもろいわ。
それな
なんかさそういうなんかさいなかったらいいなムーブ多くない？
バルって本当にねやばいんだよね。
あこれ VOR？
いや違うと思う。俺だってバンガやったもんでバンガのかけ入れたし。こっちは多分漁夫かは違うどっかのチーム。
あと1枚のワトだ。あれ飛んできたやつやばすぎるだろ。あれ
やばいでしょ。しかもさ橋に着地してきたさバカバンが誰よガチで。
飛んできたのは TI。
本当にバカだわ。もうあんな頭悪いわ本当に。本人の経験が少ないんだろうな。時間とさアンチを見てさどう考えてもそこにいるのは分かれよ普通に考えて。
おもろすぎる。マジでおもろいわ。やっぱ若いっていいね。若いっていいね。やっぱ発言自由。やっぱ実力もあるし、若いから許されそうな発言なんかいいわ。おもろいわ。滝解説見れますか？まあ次週ね、滝正要するリドルオーダーが出るのでね、それは僕解説なので、その時にまた見れるといいですね。 本番見れないと思うけど。今日はスクリームあんのかな。今日スクリームあんのかな。スクリームあるんだったら今日も今日とて多分紙視点配信すると思いますが、どうなんだろうな。さすがにあるかな、今日から。ちょっと申請フォームだけ見てみて。今日は出る人いるかな。ワンチャン休みそうなんだよな、みんな。ワンチャン休む説ないか。どうなんだろうな。みんなどんな感じだった？今日やるとか言った？一応ありそう。まあ、あるとは言ってるけど、みんなが出るかどうかが別だからな。まあ、出るんだったら見よっかなって感じで。という感じで皆さん LGS の NA のミラー配信見ていただきありがとうございました。DSM とね、ダークゼロはさすがという形で終わりましたけども。今日のね、18時プロスクどうかわかんないけど、まあ、あったら見るっていう感じでやりましょうか。という感じでお疲れ様でした。また、NA のね、ミラーはしていきたいと思いますので、NA は見ていきましょう。ではお疲れ様でした。ありがとうございました。またね。